We're behind. We're behind. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the High Noon Rant with me, Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I endeavor to bring you the entire world. Not really. Just here's what I endeavor to bring you. Everything that people like you and me are interested in. And what do I mean when I say you and me? I mean, us, the normal people, not the crazy people, not the people who get banned from family Thanksgiving dinners, the normal people, the rest of us. Those of us who have never been arrested inside a Target while being simultaneously filmed by YouTubers or TikTokers or whatever. No, none of us. That's shows for the other people. And let me tell you, as a veteran of radio, broadcast radio now since Groundhog's Day 1992, I can tell you that there is nothing but homes for those people in what we used to call old-timey radio. But there is no kind of talk. There is no kind of current events-driven talk radio for those of us who, as I say, have never been arrested, who have never been thrown off an airplane, right? That's the rest. The rest of us have never been thrown off an airplane. We've never been arrested in a Target. You know who we are. So that's what this is about. We bring you basically everything you need to know about today. Whatever it is, headlines, hot topics, current events. I do the show. It is performed in a stream of consciousness, which we're already in the middle of. Stream of consciousness, I just start talking and I don't shut up. I don't have any partners. I don't pause. I don't get to stop for music breaks or commercials or, hey, how's the weather looking out there? Nope. It's just whatever's on deck next in the head, boom, gets put in the chamber, trigger gets pulled, and away we go. Now, there are guardrails. I try to keep all of my streams, limited, at least, sort of, in the idea of current events and hot topics. So, but we do stray. We stray from time to time. And then I try to get it back on the road. And you find folks in the chat room. Your job is to keep us on the road. Will we stray too far? Go get back to the point. And we will. I do perform the show as a stream of consciousness, but it is executed in 4 distinct parts, 4 segments, 4 totally different segments that are unique and you've never heard before. That's a lie. I do 4 quarters. The first quarter we call antecedently on this day. That's a look back at history. That's this day in history. Come on, you know what that is. Quarter 2 is all right. Quarter 2 is birthdays. Birthdays. Come on, you know what those are. Quarter 3 is deads. This is the fun one. We like the deads. This is where we take a look at people who died, and then we kind of shit talk them. Now that they're gone, let's shit talk them. Let's see, and we decide whether they went to heaven or if they went to hell. That's what quarter 3 is. Quarter 4 is the bulk of the show. Quarters 1, 2, and 3, that's like the opening segment, really. That's about a half hour. Then the rest of the show is quarter 4. Quarter 4 is all the hot topics. I go from seemingly most pressing globally topic all the way down to, I don't know, by the end of it, it's like, how many times are you getting up in the middle of the night to pee? It degenerates to like just meaningless topics. Anyway, that's how the show is done. I need a sip of coffee. And I need to say hi to my chat room people. My only friends. My only friend. You guys don't know this. Well, maybe you do. Maybe I've led on to a little bit of you guys are my real friends. You guys are the ones that I talk to every day. You're the ones that I see every day. You're the ones that I go on Twitter. You're the ones I play with. You're the ones that my real friends, like my real face-to-face friends. That would be, of course, E, great and powerful E. We talk every day, but we talk about real life stuff, and that's not always, it's like, I love them. You guys are my drinking buddies. I don't go out to drink. I don't go to bars. I don't do that anymore. I'd like to, but certain situations dictate that that's not in the cards for me. So I have essentially for the last 3 years just lived in a guest house and held my breath until the weekends where my son comes. And then we have fun. Then we go out in the world and we do stuff. But I was thinking about this last night about how you guys, I was looking, who was it? It was Barney. Hi, Barney. Barney's here. Barney was something on Twitter. And I saw it, and I think it was something I did, and I responded. And I'm like, yeah, I just, like, in a moment, he wasn't just some dude, some dude that I see on Twitter that I, follow or he follows me or whatever. No, it was like, hey, it's Barney. It was like I went to high school with him. And that's a beautiful thing for a guy who's been living essentially like a hermit. I know there's a lot of bullshit about, digital connectiveness and all that, but I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you chat roomers. I really do. Peter, look at Peter writing songs, helping out the show. April, my God. Who else do we got in the chat room? Let's see. Let me say hi to people. Is it merged properly? It is. Peter says we need to all go and meet and drink someday. Yeah, we really do. We really do. Guys, I gotta be honest with you. That is something that I could have very easily organized monthly things, right? And maybe that's something that we should have done earlier. But see, this all goes back to me kind of hiding from the world, kind of just being in my head and survive. I'm very much survive the day. That's the way I've always been. Survive the day. Don't worry about tomorrow. Survive today. Live today. I've always had a bit of a fatalistic streak. And, look, that has led to a great life. I survived the day by having fun and being wickedly irresponsible. That is something that will catch up to you, folks. You should learn that lesson. I don't mean to be a cautionary tale, but anyway, so I got a lot of stuff going on in my head, and that's the only reason that we haven't done that. It's the only reason that we haven't gone out and done things together. We need to change that. We'll figure it out. Some of you came out when James and I did the comedy night thing. I appreciated seeing you guys. And that's it. I'm trying to think. That's really about it. Barty's so much cooler online. Yeah, man, we all are pretty much. That's why we gravitate to online. That's why we gravitate to these, sub personas that we develop. Because we can be everything without the baggage. We can be, you try to be the coolest guy in the room in real life, and someone's going to go, I remember when you shit your pants sophomore year, and it's gone. But online, you can change your name. You can be anything and have any attitude you want. Speaking of, I read a really interesting article about one of my favorite online follows. Well, what's his name? Thankfully, I haven't even committed his name to memory. But he's like the alpha male. He's very interesting. He's an Australian guy. He's like doughy and Australian. And he's like, I love America. Only American bears, hey? And he's hysterical. And he used to get me because I used to just think that he was a lunatic. But then I started to go, oh, this guy's great. I can't think of his name. But I read an article about him today. And here's how he was described best. Because the point of the article was, is this guy real? Is he a troll? Is he a performer? What is he? And the best description of this guy that I heard was, it's not that he's being a character. It's that he is a character, which just means, that's really kind of him. He's really, now that doesn't answer the question. Is he serious with the stuff he's doing? I mean, he could be, that's his character that we still don't know. Anyway, it's just, you can create anything that you want to be online. You can, that's why it's fun. Although our interactions here, this is a little bit different because if this is who I want to, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm pretty open with y'all and we've all, talked about stuff. So, I don't know. Maybe I should have been cooler. Maybe I should have been. Yeah, that's it. I should have been cool. I should have wore dark sunglasses. Remember, E used to wear the dark. We used to call him sunglasses because he wore sunglasses. Maybe I should have taken harder point. Should have. Why am I talking like that? I don't mean like there's no end. Like I'm not saying that. That's wait. All right, back the car up. I don't want it to seem like that. I'm just saying. I was thinking last night about how you people are just, real important to me. And about how, even though we are a small number of people, God damn, we're all together every single day. And I just really appreciate that. All right. And this is not a pledge drive week. So I thought, maybe I should talk like this when it's not followed by, hey, tip the show. Even though the banner is up. I just looked at the banner. I'm like, oh, the banner is up. Of course it is. But anyway, moving on. All right. So what else do I got to tell you guys about? What happened? Anything good happened yesterday? Yeah, we didn't get the thunderstorms we were supposed to get. Although it's like, said it was going to thunderstorm starting yesterday at like 10 o'clock here. We do the show, of course, from the Comfort Nest Studios, high top the 1%er compound in beautiful Overcast, downtown Highland Park, Texas. And it was supposed to rain here, thunderstorms, like from before the eclipse, and the eclipse was going to be ruined. And then it was just going to rain. We were going to have floods. And it was going to be terrible. It was supposed to rain until Wednesday. I don't think it's rained yet. I think it's looked like it was going to rain, and the wind is kicked up, and it's been like, uh-oh, but I don't remember any big rain. Though it looks bad now. And also, damn media. Remember how they whipped us all up into being upset? See, they're emotion farmers. That's what the media is. They decide what emotion is going to be best for them in the moment, and then they hammer it. They tried to they were like, oh, it's going to be overcast. You're not going to see it. It's going to be ruined. It's going to be ruined. And there were a lot of people whose enthusiasm for the eclipse, at least here in Dallas, was tempered. Mine was by the idea that, oh, it's just going to be overcast. And then it was awesome. It was awesome. The cloud, it was a little cloudy, but the clouds parted. Hey, the clouds probably helped. I don't know. Some great video. There was some great video. My point is this this whole weather, why didn't I become a weatherman? I've got the charisma to be a weatherman. Weathermen do not have to be attractive. Although it probably helps, as it helps in any other visual field. But weathermen can be like, I'm the guy at the barbecue in the backyard. That can be the weatherman. Unless you're a woman. If you're a woman, you got to be really hot. At least that's what it looks like. Hey, I don't make the rules. I just observe and report them. Point being, weathermen, I think, are crooks. I don't know what the hell. The only person that tells you the truth in your nightly 10 o'clock news, and I've said this forever, although I probably never said it on the air, the only person that tells you the truth on your 10 o'clock local news is the guy doing sports. That's it. That's the only guy who tells you the actual truth. Everybody else is just giving you some kind of agenda. They're laying out, they're showing you what happened, but then they're filtering it with stuff, and the weathermen are the worst. Should we get started with today's show? Hi, Byron Finfrock. Yeah, that guy. He's likable. Maybe that's why weathermen have to be likable, because there is no accountability in that profession. Zero. Weathermen have the accountability of NFL draft experts. That's it. That's another one of them fields. A guy says Ryan Leaf is going to be a generational quarterback, and Ryan Leaf is a terrific bomb in the NFL. Guy comes back next year with another one, and we all go, oh, okay, all right. Totally forgot that he whiffed like a bitch last year, but now he's telling us Jamarcus Russell's the guy. Jamarcus Russell. Going to reinvent the position out of LSU. I don't know. Accountability. Harold Taft. Who's Harold Taft? Why does that name sound familiar? Is he an old Dallas weatherman that maybe was around when I first got here in the early 2000s? I don't know. Byron says it stormed terribly. Large hail in Mesquite, 9 p.m. About to storm again. Yeah, I saw hail from like the outlying areas, but nothing here in Dallas. It's overcast. Maybe it rained a little. Did it storm last night? Did I sleep through it? Maybe it stormed at 3 a.m. I don't know. Who knows? Barty says, had an hour drive home, and 1 mile from the house, golf ball hail. Couldn't see the road in front of me. Just had to pull over and take it. Beat the crap out of my car. Yeah. I actually, in anticipation of the videos that I saw of golf ball sized hail, I moved my car to a strategic location. We get bad hail in this. Texas gets crazy hail. There's no such thing as golf ball sized hail in the Midwest. It just doesn't happen. But somehow it does here. I don't know why. Big giant hail. Who else we got? Peter says Harold Taft was the weather dude forever growing up. Okay. There we go. All right, guys. What do you say we get started? Let's start today's show. Today's High Noon Rant. The stream is in full effect. I'm feeling good. I'm rolling. I'm feeling articulate. Remember yesterday when I was like slurring in the beginning? I'm like, why do I sound drunk? Ha! Welcome to the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran, saying the quiet part out loud since 2021. It's the 9th day of April, year of our Lord 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the 100th day of the year. That's right. The 100th day of the year. There's 266 remaining. I don't know how that works. Oh, because leap year. There was an extra day this year. There you go. Let's see. Quarter one. I was telling you about the quarters that we do here on the show. Quarter one, antecedently on this day, to look back at the issues that I had cherry picked because I think I can talk about them a little bit. Antecedently on this day in 1784, the Treaty of Paris is ratified by the United States Congress. On January 14th, 1784, it was ratified by King George III of the Kingdom of Great Britain. This, of course, ended the American Revolutionary War. Treaty of Paris! I mentioned the Treaty of Paris to my kid recently. My kid has this. My kid's really smart. I know. Dad brag. Hey, it's not bragging if your kid has never gotten anything but an A. It's ridiculous because he's also a meathead, but whatever. Just mom, all right? Can we give mom credit? Can we give mom credit? So my kid learns things in school. And then he likes to like quiz me on like shit that he just learned a couple hours ago. He throws it at me, a man in his 50s who hasn't been in school in 40 years, whatever, 40, 35 years, whatever. And it's totally unfair. Like he goes, yeah. So I'm getting really into maps, Dad. And I'm like, oh, cool, maps. All right, that's good. You know, because as a dad, you start thinking, hey, I'm gonna be a geographer. Okay, maybe an adventurer. I don't know. Is there money in that? You know, you start thinking of those things. And he starts talking about maps, and he starts talking about these theories that he has about maps and how they're, you know, not properly sized, but why they're sized. And then he goes, so what's your take on the something? And I go, huh? I go, what? I don't have a take on that. What are you talking about? And he goes, you don't even know what the Mercator system of geographical definement is. And I'm like, no, dude, I don't. I didn't just learn it 3 hours ago. Okay. And then I fired back with, I go, tell me about the two main important aspects of the Treaty of Paris. And he looked at me like, what? What? And I go, you didn't get to that yet, did ya? Dummy kids. Anyway, Treaty of Paris was today, 1784. It ended the Revolutionary War. On this day, isn't this weird? This is why I say I cherry pick things, and these aren't all the events that have occurred on this day, but they are certain weird ones. We look for patterns. 1784, the Treaty of Paris ended on this day, the Revolutionary War. On this day in 1865, the American Civil War, Robert E. Lee surrenders the Army of Northern Virginia to Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox, ending the Civil War. Both on the same day. How is that a thing? How's that a thing? On this day, antecedently in 1947, the Journey of Reconciliation, that's the first interracial freedom ride, began through the Upper South. This was in violation of Jim Crow laws. The riders wanted enforcement of the United States Supreme Court's 1946 Irene Morgan decision that banned racial segregation in interstate travel. Now, what did that mean? Because, you know, forgive me, I wasn't born during the Jim Crow era or in the South. So I don't really understand this. But as I guess like before this 1946 thing, is it that black people couldn't sit with white people on a bus, or was it black people couldn't be on a bus if white people were on it? I don't know. But man, could you imagine that? So that's what the freedom rides were about. They were just a bunch of white kids and black kids from New York and the East Coast. They all came down, freedom riders, and a big challenge there for them kids. Those brave kids, man. They a bunch of them got beat up. Some got killed. Mississippi burning centered around the freedom riders. And my generation, we were the opposite of that. We were the slackers. We were like, man, we ain't doing nothing. You know, that was our attitude. You got to give the boomers credit. When they were young, they were engaged. They were active. All right, moving on. And then they, you know, we don't have to get into the boomers. Talk about promises not kept. On this day, antecedently in 1959, Project Mercury, ladies and gentlemen. take our cap off to the Mercury 7. The Mercury 7 were unveiled for the very first time. What? Who are the Mercury 7? Well, what? Everybody's not a space nerd like me. The Mercury 7 were the 7 original astronauts, those deemed to have the right stuff, if you will. Let's see. Okay, so you had John Glenn, right? Yeah, you had Coop. You had Gordon Cooper, John Glenn, Gordon Cooper. You had Scott Carpenter, of course. You had Wally Schirra, You had Deke Slayton, yep. You had Alan Shepard, And is that it? Is that all 7? I don't know. Let's hope so. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Mercury 7 on this day. Gus, Coop, Glenn, Carpenter, Schirra, Deke, Shep. I don't know, man. I don't know. On this day, antecedent, I should remember. I feel bad. I don't think that was 7. On this day, antecedently in 1992, a U.S. federal court finds former Panamanian dictator Manuel Noriega guilty of drug and racketeering charges. He is sentenced to 30 years in prison. Is he still alive? What's going on with Manuel Noriega? Did he die? He died, right? Let's see. Is he dead? Yeah, he's dead. He died like in 2017. All right, there you go. We don't even have to talk about him. Manuel Noriega, Panamanian dictator, drug dealer. Was he a drug dealer, or didn't he, as dictator of Panama, allow the banks of Panama to work with the cartels? And I think it had more to do with banking stuff and the fact that he was probably not a good guy. Pineapple Face, remember him? Manuel Noriega. But it's not like, I don't know that he was like moving. Maybe he was. Maybe, I just don't think he was down on the docks going, load those over there. He was the dictator of the country. Like, he allowed these things to happen. I don't know. I could be wrong. Who knows? All right, moving on. Let's see here. Antecedently on this day in 2003, Baghdad falls. Now, we all thought that was the end of that war, right? Remember on this day when the troops moved into Baghdad and they conquered it and the Americans were in the center of Baghdad and we were all like, we won. And then we had mission accomplished. That was also on this day in 2003. So backtracking now. On this day, the Revolutionary War ended. On this day, the Civil War ended. On this day, Baghdad fell. I don't know. We look for pattern. That seems like a pattern to me. On this day in 2013, at least 13 people are killed and another 3 injured after a man goes on a shooting spree in the Serbian village of, I'm not even going to try. It's a crazy pronunciation. Serbia. A dude went on a shooting spree in Serbia. It just went in the village, had a gun, killed everybody. I fire back at a lot of people, after a shooting when they're like, only in America. And look, I know that we lead the league in school shootings and we're probably the inspiration for a lot of these around the world, but it's not an only in America thing. Every day when I put this list together, I skip over shootings. I skip over shootings and plane crashes, but I wanted to mention this one because this is the second day in a row where there was a story. Now, yesterday I skipped over it, but second day in a row where there was a story about another person who went on a mass shooting spree. Yesterday it was some dude in Finland or Sweden that, on this day in history did it. So today I thought I'd mention that. America has exported a lot of ideas to the world. Hollywood, democracy, freedom at all costs, and also possibly shootings. But whenever somebody says only in America, I'm like, no, this is not. And then you see smart people who appear on TV and are presented in ways that you're supposed to think they're expert on it. And they say things like, this is a distinctly American crisis. Now, guns in general around the world. But, if we're talking about what we can do as America. I mean, we can focus on America, but this is not a distinctly American thing. It happens around the world. Again, America leads the league in it, but still, I always go, it's not only here. They have these, Canada has these things a lot. Not England, but England has other crazy things like, members of parliament getting their heads cut off as they walk into a store. in the middle of their town. Yeah, that's the kind. I mean, it's a violent world. We're particularly violent people. Don't get me wrong. The American people, we have a penchant for violence in a way that nobody else. I shouldn't say that. Nobody else. We have a day-to-day sort of anesthetization of violence. I think we're just more. I don't know. Guess there's some like African tribal nations that might be like, nah, we hack people up all the time, and some Central American stuff and some Eastern European crap. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. This is what a stream of consciousness does. I'm committed to no point. We move. We evolve. Antecedently, on this day in 2014, a student stabs 20 people at Franklin Regional High School in Murraysville, Pennsylvania. Okay, this is another one of these tropes that we always hear after one of these things. You almost get those crazy people on the right celebrating mass stabbings. You get them to, see? What, are you going to ban all kitchen knives? No, because nobody died in this mass. We just did a story about a dude in Serbia who went on a shooting spree. He killed 13 people and injured 30 others. He killed 13. This dude, 2014, student stabs 20 people. Nobody died. He's just a crazy kid. That's a mental health thing. No, we don't have to ban knives, you dummies, because it's about lethality. Lethality? Yeah, it's about the lethalness of the instrument causing mass casualties. A knife, yeah, there's fucked up people all over. You could kill somebody. You kill someone with a can of chili. Yeah, you could. And that's illegal too. But no, we ain't banning chili, because when somebody tries to kill somebody with a can of chili, they don't kill everybody in the movie theater with the can of chili. That's the difference. Stop being disingenuous. These disingenuous bullshit arguments need to stop. We can find common ground. By the way, there's a story about that today, about how we as Americans truly have more common ground than the media is letting us think. The media just keeps stirring us up, thinking we all hate each other. We're all completely different. Meanwhile, we agree in like the 75 percentile or above on just about all the important issues. The loudest and the dumbest who are getting the most amplification of their message. Not us normal people. Byron says, don't ban knives, just bring back asylums. Yes. I don't even know asylums. I mean, but that's what we need to focus on. People who want to kill people with things. Okay. Look, there's been movement on guns in particular for decades, and it's not working. And I say this as the victim of gun violence. My whole life has been, is somebody ever going to do something about this so that maybe some other kid doesn't have to grow up hearing stories about how great your dad was because they never met him, because their dad was gunned down in the street during a robbery with a illegal gun. Actually, I don't even know if it was illegal. Actually, anyway, let's at least, if we're not going to move the ball on making sure that every fucking nutbag who wants a gun can't get one, because we're not doing that. Let's focus on the nutballs themselves, then fine. That seems like it's a compromise that I'm willing to do just to get the ball moving and just to get people sitting at the same table. These people won't even sit at a table together. We've got to find something. So I agree. I agree with Byron in that maybe. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When the bill comes due for the newfound American focus on mental health, when that bill comes down, it's going to be the same people on the right who are like, wow, we spending taxpayer dollars on. It's going to be that again. That's why it went away in the first place. So where do we move that money from? Defense? Whoa. What? Come on. We're not taking it from schools, but we do. We need a concerted effort to just at least let's tag all our crazy people. Can we just, how about that? We do it with livestock. How about just anybody who we think is crazy is walking around out there with like a tag on their ear, just so we know, stay away, or don't sell them a gun, or don't even give them a knife. Don't let them buy a Louisville Slugger. That guy's been tagged. These are the kinds of things that I would do if I was the benevolent dictator that we need in this country. Bovine ear tags on everybody who we think is sketchy or dodgy. Let's see. That's going to do it. Those are, that's anecdote antecedently on this day. Now let's move on to quarter two. They say it's their birthday. Let's see here. Birthdays. Woo, this is a conversation about who is a great man and who isn't a great man. I think there are a lot of people who think this is a great man. And I think there are a lot of people who think that this is not a great man. This is an evil man. I think both of those people are wrong. I think this is just a dude who threaded the needle of what American popular culture of the time allowed and what it was moving towards. I don't know if that's a great man. Timing as I get older, I'm just tired of people who just seem to have lucked out because of timing being rewarded as these, that's a fine man. No, he got lucky, he got rich, and now he's a great man. Hugh Hefner was born on this day in 1926. It's a lot about Hugh Hefner that people will tell you. That was a First Amendment advocate. He was a First Amendment advocate as to how it pertained to him and his pocketbook. Okay? There are a lot of issues that Hugh Hefner was on the wrong side of history on. Just go ahead and look it up. He's also... I don't think he was I think he was a smart man, but I also think that he may have been a bit autistic by today's understanding. So his weirdness, he spent all day in his bath robe or his bed robe or whatever it is. I don't know. I think that he was just, I don't know. Not a great man. I don't think Hugh Hefner was a great man. I'm sorry. I think he was an interesting man, a fascinating character, but god damn, everybody's a great man now. I say this because there was a story yesterday about Hugh Hefner's birthday, and it says the title was "On the Anniversary of the Great Man Himself." I'm like, what? Come on. You don't put more on the line for the First Amendment than Hugh Hefner ever did, and was 100 times more vulgar, was Larry Flynt. Larry Flynt was the guy that really put it all on the line. Hell, the guy got his spine shattered. They tried to assassinate him. He was in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. I mean, and Hugh Hefner, who's sort of the cleaned up version of, I just never bought the Hugh Hefner thing. Interesting guy, though. A lot there. There's a good biography about him. It was written about 10 years ago. I don't remember what it's called. Possibly it's called Hugh Hefner. Born on this day in 1926, Hugh Hefner. Born on this day in 1932, Carl Perkins. Little rockabilly legend there. Carl Perkins. Born on this day in 1935, Avery Schreiber. Do you guys know who Avery Schreiber is? This is how I knew. Apparently, he was like a comedian, like a very well-known comedian. Here, I'll find this for you. Like people like older generations knew him, thought he was funny. Here we go. But this is how we knew him. This is how Gen X knew Avery Schreiber. Here, let's watch this. See if this brings back any memories. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember from the 1970s the Doritos guy? He was on every Saturday morning cartoon. Here it is, Avery Schreiber, the Doritos guy. Also, check out an unknown Dick Van Patten. I don't know how unknown he was, but he plays the guy who crunches the chip. See, this was a series of commercials. Avery Schreiber was the face of Doritos for about 10 years. And the premise of the ad campaign was that Avery Schreiber was always an everyman. He was out there doing something in the world, whatever it was. And right at the moment that he needed to be most focused, somebody would crunch into a bag of Doritos and it would disrupt him and something funny would happen. That was the whole bit. That was the ad campaign. It ran for years and years. But the dudes who make the chips, like in this case, Dick Van Patten, or the dude who crunches it. Here we go. Let's watch.
The George is going to taste the cheese. Cheese. He's going to taste the cheese.
If you're the kind of person who appreciates great cheese flavor, Doritos brand nacho cheese flavored tortilla chips can surprise you, especially when you taste nacho cheese flavored Doritos, because they taste as good as they crunch. Doritos nacho cheese, just one of 3 great Doritos flavors.
Oh yeah, the old Doritos commercials with that guy. Avery Schreiber, born on this day in 1935. He's a Gen X icon. He's that guy. Born on this day in, let's see. Oh, geez, bring it down, Pugs. Bring it down. Miserable Birthday in Hell. Is this the way to the Miserable Birthday in Hell? To born on this day in 1953, Stephen Paddock. I don't know that the name Stephen Paddock is as easily recognizable as some other people. But he's the most prolific murderer in the history of America. Unless you count some generals. I mean, you know, people would say, "Oh, you talking about Kissinger?" No. You talking about Westmoreland? No, I'm talking about Stephen Paddock. He's the Las Vegas shooter. He's the guy who opened up from the window of what was the bridal suite that my wife and I at the time stayed in. Yeah. Did you guys know that? How crazy is that? He did the shooting, this freak show, the Stephen Paddock, the room that he used, same room that my wife and I got married in when we went to Vegas to get married. How do we know? Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? So I'm looking when this thing went down, when this is happening, it's terrible. Remember he opened up from the windows at the Mandalay Bay and right down on the concert that was going on down there. So when this was happening, I was like, man, where's the shoot? The shooting's and I'm like, God, that's like where we were staying. So I went back and I looked at all my pictures. And this was confirmed afterwards when you saw the pictures of the hotel room and all that kind of stuff. Actually, here's what I should say. It's either the room or we're the room above it or below it, but it is right there. It is the exact same room. I cross-checked it with pictures. I had pictures out our window of the suite. It was like they gave it to, I don't know if it was the bridal suite, but it was a suite. And they gave the pictures that I took, you can see, you know, maybe I'll post the picture. You know what I'll do? Follow me on Twitter. I'll post those pictures later today. But you can see out the window, I'm taking these pictures, right below us is the concert venue. It's the exact same view that he had. But the concert venue at the time when I got married, it wasn't. It was just a parking lot. But they turned it into that Route 66 festival. So that's weird and chilling. It's a nice hotel room, though. It was nice. And, you know, I also got really into the story of this guy, Stephen Paddock, simply because of the weird connection to that particular hotel room at Mandalay Bay. And, God, we still don't know. Nobody knows what that was. There was a lot of rumors, but I mean, I just recently saw some a few months ago about Stephen Paddock, where his own brother, have you ever seen his own brother on YouTube? His own brother is like just completely freaked out. Like nobody saw this coming. He was a real estate guy. He had money, you know, he was in what everybody assumed was a fairly decent relationship. And if it wasn't so bad that there were, you know, issues that people would go, yeah, he was with a battle axe and he was miserable. No, none of that. Back to the mental health thing. This guy was just keeping something hidden, something dark inside. The video footage of him, like leading up to an hour before he actually started the shooting there in Las Vegas, the video footage of him shows him joking with security guards, flirting with a waitress, or, you know, seemingly having a nice conversation with a waitress. Baggage handler guys, joking with them, helping them out of he loaded the loading in of the equipment that he used over the course. He stayed in this room for like a week. And over the course of the week, he loaded bag after bag after bag after bag of ammo and heavy, heavy war machines. Security camera footage. He had his own internal security. That's how he knew to shoot through the door and shoot that original security guard who was responding to an alarm that had been pulled on the floor. Yeah, that's how the whole thing, that he was shooting and somebody pulled an alarm on the floor and a security guard went to go check out the alarm. And as he was coming around the corner, he got shot right in the leg, right through the door at the end of this guy knew, Paddock knew someone was coming around the corner because he had set up cameras. God. And nobody in his life, and this isn't a guy like me. I'm a hermit, you know. People are like, I ain't talked to him lately. This was a guy who wasn't like that at all. He was out. People knew him. Hey, here comes Stevie. And then he just does this. And I should say, he didn't just do it. That's what makes it even darker and weirder. He didn't just do this. There was a lot of methodical planning that went into this whole thing that he kept to himself for what authorities believe could have been years. Could have been planning this for years. And in all this time, nobody saw anything in this guy. Guys, mental health is a very real thing. He's a scary dude. Stephen Paddock, burn in hell, you fucking weirdo. All right, let's move on. Lighter subjects now. Having a birthday today, celebrating a birthday. Born on this day in 1954, Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid, the Quaid Star. I don't know. Has anybody ever called him that? The Quaid Star. You guys, Dennis Quaid is a linchpin in my Hollywood clone factory theory. I believe that there are multiple models of the Dennis Quaid. I'm not sure where it originates from. Actually, I think that it originates with the Clint Eastwood. I think that's the original base model, and then they changed it. Like you had Clint Eastwood, and then you had like a Dennis Quaid, a Kurt Russell, later a Patrick Swayze. You know, all of these are the same base model, just with a few alterations and cultural changes due to the times they existed. Dennis Quaid and Kurt Russell, man, that's always been a weird thing to me. Dennis Quaid and Kurt Russell, when I was a kid, I really couldn't tell the difference between them. They're like, still, when I think back on movies from the 80s, I'm like, was that Dennis Quaid or Kurt Russell? Dennis Quaid ends up hooking. Well, actually, let's start with Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell hooks up with Goldie Hawn. And that's what a great, powerful Hollywood, thrill couple. Look at those two. It's Kurt Russell and Kurt and Goldie. They were big. Goldie. They didn't have those, where they mashed the names up together. Goldie. Go, Hustle. They'd have been known as Hustle. Hawn and Russell. Hustle walked the red carpet. Damn. Somebody built that time machine. I got to go back. Goldie Hawn, who was this specific type of Hollywood actress. Blonde, bubbly, perky, maybe really sexy, but definitely cute. Definitely could have been the girl in high school that you pined for. That was Goldie Hawn. Meg Ryan is the exact same model. Meg Ryan was the new Goldie Hawn. And of course, Dennis Quaid, a variant of Kurt Russell, because Kurt Russell came first, ends up with Meg Ryan. Come on. Hollywood Clone Factory is a very real thing. You've got the Goldie Hawn, Meg Ryan model clones, and they're hooking up with the Kurt Russell, Dennis Quaid type clones. Randy, that was a mistake. That's why Randy, they left him in the oven too long and he just kind of melted his face. And they're like, okay, character actor for this one. So just forget about Randy Quaid. He was a mistake. Somebody screwed up in that recipe. He's fun though, but somebody definitely screwed up. It wasn't the intent to create the Randy Quaid. Sometimes these things, this is what happens with the Clone Factory. Sometimes you get the Buscemi's, the Paul Giamatti's, the uglies, the ones that aren't attractive. That sometimes the recipe goes wrong and the clones come out weird. So anyway, so you got Dennis Quaid and Goldie Hawn, or Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan. That's always been interesting to me. But then you got Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, and it's just always been to me. It's like Kurt Russell and Dennis Quaid are the same person, and Goldie Hawn and Meg Ryan are the same person. I don't understand it. Also, both of these dudes now have offspring kids, sons specifically. Kurt Russell, you got Wyatt Russell. Wyatt Russell out there doing things. Guess who Wyatt Russell is totally confused for in my book? Wyatt Russell, the son of Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, I confuse with Jack Quaid, the son of Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan. So it's just all Jack Quaid from The Boys. No, that's not Wyatt Russell. But every time I see him, I go, wait, is that Kurt and Goldie's kid or is that Dennis and Meg's kid? It's just so weird. It's all weird. I'm telling you, man, these things cannot be ignored. Why am I not a QAnon star? This is like the best QAnon theory going, and all I need is people to help me support it. Let's do a Dennis Quaid draft, shall we? Yeah, we will. I like Dennis Quaid, and I don't think we've ever done a Dennis Quaid draft. I don't think that's been a thing. So let's do it. A Dennis Quaid draft. Here's what we do. We take a look at the work, the body of work, the filmography, if you will, of a known actor, actress, and we rank them like they're coming out of college and into the NFL. The first one is the number one overall pick, which means I think it's their best movie, or at least my favorite. And then we go through 5, okay? 5-round Dennis Quaid draft. Here we go. All right, first, Gordo Cooper, The Right Stuff. Did you think Dennis Quaid played Gordo Cooper in The Right Stuff, which, by the way, we already talked about. Today is the anniversary of the announcement of the original Mercury 7, of which Gordo Cooper was one. Coincidence that it's also Dennis Quaid who played Gordo Cooper's birthday? Sure. You just keep believing in coincidences. The Right Stuff is number 1 off the board. I love that movie. That is one of the great heartbreaks of my life, is that my son did not connect with that movie. I've tried twice now, and I'm afraid to try again. I tried once when he was way too young. It just wasn't cool. He was like 5, and he's like, I don't want to watch this. And then I tried again when he was like 10, and he didn't take to it that time either. But he watched the whole thing, and I remember after that when he was like, I've seen it now. Okay, can we move on? Like, he didn't love it. How do you not love The Right Stuff when you're a little boy? I don't get it. Number 1 off the board, The Right Stuff. Dennis Quaid played Gordo Cooper. Number 2 off the board, I'm going Great Balls of Fire. Dennis Quaid playing Jerry Lee Lewis. Great Balls of Fire. A movie that attempted to normalize the relationship between a grown-ass man, Jerry Lee Lewis, and his cousin, who was 12 years old, Myra. Yeah, don't watch Great Balls of Fire again, because it's just Hollywood just takes the attitude that it was fine. She was 12, but she was hot. You know, it's like that's the kind of the attitude you get from that movie. It's creepy, but it's still a fun movie. Great Balls of Fire, number 2. Dennis Quaid played Jerry Lee Lewis. How about Wyatt Earp? Right, Wyatt Earp, right? He played Doc Holliday. Dennis Quaid in the Wyatt Earp, the Kevin Costner. But this ain't the I'll be your Huckleberry version. He was also a very good Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer. But Dennis Quaid was the cool Doc Holliday. Look, Dennis Quaid could have killed. Dennis Quaid's Doc Holliday, I think, was tougher than Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday. Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday was deadly, and you had to respect him. But didn't he kind of have like a kind of thing? But he had kind of that wasn't the way Dennis Quaid played him. All right, moving on. Number 4 off the board in the Dennis Quaid draft. We're going with Any Given Sunday. Jack Rooney. Cap, the captain, the quarterback. Oh, my God. He's got Steamin' Willie Beeman coming for his job. He was awesome. Dennis Quaid, Any Given Sunday. Jack Rooney, quarterback, captain of the team. And then I'm going to go with number 5, Enemy Mine. Him and Louis Gossett Jr. Louis Gossett Jr. just died a couple weeks ago. Enemy Mine, that was where like a human astronaut and like some alien both crash land on the same planet, and they have to survive together. That's a pretty deep movie. I like that movie. Enemy Mine. All right, there you go. The Dennis Quaid draft. We've got The Right Stuff at number 1, Great Balls of Fire at number 2, Wyatt Earp at number 3, Any Given Sunday at number 4, and Enemy Mine at number 5. I would invite a whole bunch to camp, but I don't know. As it turned out, when I was looking through his filmography, I was like, I haven't seen any of these things. I don't know if that's a good movie. I've heard of it, but I don't know what that movie is. He made a lot of dumb movies. He doesn't have like a really great filmography, but he is important to my generation and should be to yours. Dennis Quaid, also a clone. Born on this day in 1967, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, Sam Harris, American author, philosopher, neuroscientist, noted atheist. Sam Harris, born on this day in 1967. Born on this day in 1968, Jay Chandra, the guy from Broken Lizard. I love these guys. Broken Lizard, they're a comedy troupe. They did a whole bunch of crazy movies. What was the series of movies that they did? Slammin' Salmon, I know, was one. What was the one about the cops? They were funny. It's one of the funniest cop movies ever. Anyway, the Broken Lizard guys were great. They were regulars on the old Pugs and Kelly show. They toured relentlessly as like a performing group, and they also had movies every once in a while. So they would come through at least a couple of times a year. They were really nice guys, and it was really kind of cool to see how they blew up. And then never talked to us again, which is basically how these things happen. Oh, well, happy birthday. He was not, look, hey, in the time we spent together, they were nice. And Jay Chandra, who's kind of the leader. I apologize. Look, I'm a Western educated man in my 50s with limited exposure to the very exotic and complicated names that come from India and Pakistan in that region. So if you think I'm being disrespectful, fuck you. I'll show you disrespectful when I get disrespectful. All right, moving on. Happy birthday. Born on this day. Where did Jay? Yeah, born on this day in 1974. Jenna Jameson. 50 years old today. 50-year-old porn star with hepatitis or what? I mean, look. Can I just talk as a Gen X guy who remembers was in his 20s or whatever when Jenna Jameson burst onto the scene? We never saw this coming. We never, back in 1993 or whenever it was, the first time we saw Jenna Jameson, whenever it was she was going on Howard Stern, we never saw Jenna Jameson at 50. We never imagined what that could look like, what that could be like. And now we have it. Happy birthday, Jenna Jameson. Telling you, the porno business is not built for aging actresses. Aging actresses with, shall we say, quixotic lifestyles. Or, maybe that's not. Anyway, moving on. Happy birthday, Jenna Jameson. Born on this day in 1974. Born on this day in 1981. That's weird. Again, here's another weird coincidence because I almost name-checked this guy when I was talking about Stephen Paddock. Remember Stephen Paddock, born on this day in 1953, the Las Vegas shooter? I think I stayed in the hotel room. And I said, Stephen Paddock, his name isn't as well known as, and then I started to say another name, and I stopped because I knew that this name was coming up, and I was like, well, we'll get to him later. Born on this day in 1981, the same day as Las Vegas shooting guy. A much better known name, Eric Harris. Eric Harris. Like, oh, why do I know that name? Well, when I partner him with his with the comedy team of Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, yeah, that's the name we remember because it's an interesting name and it's fun to say. Eric Harris, very forgettable. Dylan Klebold, that's the one. Today is Eric Harris's birthday, of course. Burn in Hell, Columbine shooter. Born on this day in 1982. I want to take a moment on this guy because I don't know how well known he is. Let me see something here. Yeah, probably thinking about McDonald's for some reason. I don't know why that is. So this guy's having a birthday today, and I want to know if you guys know who this guy is, because I can tell you without doubt he is one of my favorite actors. Everything that he is in, I've seen him do big drama. He's most well known for comedy, but I mean, he's a tremendous actor. He's very nuanced, and even in his comedy, he's often portraying the straight man who's a bit more suspect of the situation, right? But he does amazing comedy too. In Canada, he's like a big star. And here in America, he's just, oh, that guy, I've seen him before. Happy birthday, Jay Baruchel. Love this dude. This dude is so great. What was he in? He was, I just watched him in a mini series. He was great. I'll never forget him, but I forgot what the mini series was about. It was about one of these tech companies. Let's see. What was that? Why can't I think of that? All right, let's see. Let me see what movies I was thinking about. I just saw it, and it's on like Hulu or something. Yeah, there it is. It's really good. Is it on Hulu? Is this Hulu? I can't tell. BlackBerry. The story of the BlackBerry phone, how it was just the biggest thing for a period of time, and then it went away completely. And, was just basically beaten into submission by the Apple iPhone. But man, the movie is called BlackBerry, and it is really good. He plays the inventor of the BlackBerry technology. They got completely screwed over by Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Dennis, that guy, the guy who plays Dennis, he plays the other lead. So it's this guy, Jay Baruchel, and Dennis. It's a very good movie. It's called BlackBerry. But oh, that's right. He's How to Train Your Dragon. That's, I think, why I might love him more than anything else, because How to Train Your Dragon was really big with me and my son when my son was growing up. And that's right. He was he's the voice of the boy who trains the dragon, who learns how to train the dragon. Forgot his name. What was that boy's name? Anyway, moving on. What I'd really like to tell you is he did a TV show that you can find on Hulu. It was a situation comedy. although it was very well produced. It wasn't like, it wasn't Friends. There were cutaways and elaborate sets and CGI used. It was really great. The series is called Man Seeking Woman. Okay. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can show you a trailer for this, just so you can get an idea of how crazy this show is. And absolutely nobody has ever seen it. And I think that it is one of the funniest shows ever. And nobody knows it. Trailer, Man Seeking, season 1. Okay, so we'll watch the premise of it is he's a guy who has just broken up with the love of his life. He's in his young 20s. He's just broken up with the love of his life. She has kicked him out, and he just can't get over it. He can't get over this girl, even though, as it turns out, she's really terrible, and he should get over her. And it's about him going out into the world and trying to date and all this while still pining for this girl. So here it is. Watch this. It's on Hulu. I'm telling you, it's very enjoyable. It's so funny, so crazy.
All right.
Yeah. So we can be buddies.
Yeah.
Dude, you know she's seeing someone, right?
Who is he?
This guy Adolf.
His name is Adolf? Like Adolf Hitler?
Oh, cool, you know him.
I thought he died like years ago.
Nah, he faked that.
Your mother and I met on a blind date.
I wouldn't have set you up if I didn't think it was a good match.
You didn't ask to see a picture?
Mom, they're so adorable.
Josh, we need to talk.
What do you mean?
This just isn't working for me. I want to see what's out there. I mean, I've only been with one other guy.
What?
Good thing it's the weekend.
What?
It's the weekend.
I cannot believe you got a girl's number on the train.
Something about a young lady?
Oh, Mom, I don't want to talk about it.
Here, have some iced tea. I want information about this new girl you're seeing. Now.
Mom?
But first, how are you in the chair? Are you comfortable there?
I'm better than Hitler.
Somebody's jealous.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't want anybody to not be prepared. It's a wild show. And yeah, he's dating Hitler. Hitler isn't dead. He's actually back. And who would be the absolute worst person that you could be left for? And he was left for Hitler. It's such a funny show. If you like absurdist comedy. Jay Baruchel, it's his birthday. He is terrific. I just love that guy. Born on this day in 1982. Born on this day in 1990. Kristen Stewart. I don't get her. You guys get her? Yeah, I don't know. I don't get her. She's either like going to be like the next Betty Davis or totally forgettable within, the next 2 years. I don't know. Kristen Stewart. Happy birthday. I can't figure you out. Born on this day in 1998, Elle Fanning. Elle Fanning. I make no distinction between an Elle Fanning and a Dakota Fanning. Are they different? What are they? I know they're both girl actresses. There you have it. Happy birthday, Elle Fanning. Born on this day in 1999, Lil Nas X, American rapper. Lil Nas X. I don't know anything about him. I know he had like one massive hit that everybody knew, and he became like a superstar, like the biggest guy in the world. I don't know, like the summer of 2020, maybe before the pandemic. I don't know. And then he did something where he was the devil. And I don't know, is Lil Nas X still important, or did he have his moment? Blink. And he's right now between having moments. Who knows? It's his birthday though. Lil Nas X. All right, now let's move into quarter three. We spent a lot of time on the first three quarters. We're going to go late today. I apologize. Dead people. Let's talk about dead people. These are the people who have died on this day, and we're going to determine whether they went to heaven or hell. Adam says, I love her. She's funny and a great actress. See her in Adventureland. Kristen Stewart, that is. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe, man. Like I said, she's either Betty Davis or I don't know. I can't tell. She has done some things that I've gone, okay. And she's done some other things where I've gone, but who knows? Let's see what else is happening in the chat room. Let me catch up real quick. Maybe I can answer some of these. Super Troopers. That's it. I was trying to think of, who the Broken Lizard guys, what their movie series was. Super Troopers, and then Slam Salmon was like the sequel or something like that. James wanted me to mention Inner Space, which is a great Dennis Quaid movie. Did not make my cut, but he is right. Now that I'm thinking about Inner Space, was it Martin Short? Is that who he got shot into? Like the premise was he was shrunk down to an astronaut and shoved into somebody's body, and he was traveling through the human body. I mean, there have been a number of movies throughout the years that have done this particular thing. Inner Space was good, though. I liked it. Rob Barr agrees with me that Enemy Mine was, in fact, a good movie when we were kids. Adam was quick to help me out on Blackberry. That's the movie. Peter liked it. Kevin, Kevin's wife, my buddy Kevin's wife, says her sister worked at Blackberry at their height. Adam says Jay Baruchel is great in the movie She's Out of My League. Yeah, he did a bunch of these like teen targeted movies for a period of time. That I guess he's better known than I think of him. I just think he's so talented that he should be a bigger star, and he just doesn't seem to be. When nobody watched Man Seeking Woman, I was like, people don't get it. Jeff says Guadalupe says the Nas X has a pedo song now. I don't know. Well, what is a pedo song? I mean, it sounds like that's being filtered through an agenda, Jeff. I don't know. I haven't heard it. That doesn't appeal to me. And Lil Nas X is not the music that that's music for another generation. Let them process it the way they want. For me, I don't think I'm supposed to get it. I don't know if my kid likes Lil Nas X, though. He doesn't seem to talk about him very much. All right, let's do the deads. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Let's decide if they went to heaven or hell. Dead on this day in 1926. This is not a celebrity, but when I see this name, I have to look into it. Ladies and gentlemen, dead on this day in 1926, Zip the Pinhead. Ladies and gentlemen, Zip the Pinhead died on this day. He was a freak show performer. And apparently, I clicked on his little thing. Apparently, he was a very successful freak show performer. And, can we get a look at him? Let's see what Zip the Pinhead looked like. Freak shows. Boy, oh boy. You guys know what freak shows were? You guys, they're illegal. I don't know if they should be illegal. I think that I don't think they should be illegal. But I think that we should go through the parking lot of freak shows and take down all the license plates of the cars that are there, because the people who are into that kind of thing, whatever. But hey, the argument is the freaks, this is how they make their money. Freaks. Look at me playing into the nomenclature. All right. Hold on. Let me find you Zippo the Pinhead. Oh, Zip the Pinhead. Freak shows were where just like if you had a terrible, is this Zip the Pinhead? There you go. Oh, he's not even that bad. Oh, he is not that bad. So if you had a terrible disfigurement back in like the 1890s or whatever, they would put you in a wagon and they'd bring you through town and they'd charge people to look at you. They were freak shows. So this guy is Zip the Pinhead. He doesn't look that bad. That doesn't look like some sort of, I expected, why didn't he shave it? He should shave his head. If there is a cone kind of a thing happening there. All right, let me see if there are any other pictures of Zip the Pinhead. He died on this day. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do with Zip the Pinhead. We're just going to put him in heaven because I'm just assuming that that was not good, that his life was, Not good. Zip the pinhead. All right, moving on. Dead on this day in 1959, Frank Lloyd Wright, American architect. He made boxes and stuff like Frank Lloyd Wright. There's like all of these stories that you hear like every couple of years, and one will pop up where Frank Lloyd Wright, who is considered, the greatest architect that America's ever produced. I don't know if that's true, but so a lot of his stuff is like around the Chicago area because his workshop was in Madison, Wisconsin. His offices were in Chicago, all that stuff. Chicago architecture was big back then. It was a city that burned down right at the height of new architectural technology. So every architect from around the world moved to Chicago to build the buildings back, build the city back up. And that's why. Anyway, so architecture is kind of a thing in Chicago. So Frank Lloyd Wright is heralded as like this like great guy. And every now and again, somebody buys a house somewhere in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area, that turns out to have been designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. And it goes from being like a $500,000 house to being a $5 million house overnight. It's crazy. It's like winning the lottery and how these houses seem to fall through the cracks of time, but experts go, I think that's a Frank. And then there's also a bunch of what they call fake Lloyd Wrights all over Chicago, the con men and the mob has sold throughout the years as actually being Frank Lloyd Wrights, but they're fake Lloyd Wrights. People spend and they buy them, and then it turns out, nope, that's not. Anyway, heaven, hell, I don't know. He contributed to our culture. I'm going to put Frank Lloyd Wright in heaven. Although I don't know anything about his personal life. He might have been an absolute horrible person. Dead on this day in 2001, Willie Stargell. I'm putting Willie Stargell in heaven. Willie Stargell, Pop Stargell. We are family. Bump up about it. Now, the 1970s Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh was the sports capital of the world, man. There was a period of time where the Pirates, we are family. You know that song? That's where it comes from. You had the Pittsburgh Pirates, who were just like the team. And then you had the Pittsburgh Steelers at the very same time, who were like the team. 1977, I think, was this time, because my high school was affected by this directly. My high school was built in 1978, right at the height of Pittsburgh sports dominance in this country. And because of that, my school's colors to this day remain black and gold. They're the colors of the Pittsburgh Pirates and the colors of the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, fun fact. Willie Stargell's going to heaven, though, because he was cool. He was Pop Stargell, man. He's out there keeping, Dave Parker cool and calm. Yeah, he's come on. Willie Stargell. He died at like 61. That is not cool. Willie Stargell, Pop Stargell. We're putting him in heaven. Dead on this day in 2001. Dead on this day in 2019, Charles Van Doren. Charles Van Doren, this guy, we're going to put him in hell, this little son of a bitch. You know who Charles Van Doren is? Yeah, you do. You ever seen the movie Quiz Show about how in the early 1950s, when game shows were all the rage, they were all fixed. And Charles Van Doren was the guy it was, I think, 20 questions or something like that, where he was like basically created to be the smartest man in the world who could answer any question at any time. And he was basically being given the answers ahead of time. But Americans were tuning in. He's so smart. How could he possibly know? Well, because it was all a con. Charles Van Doren died on this day in 2019. He's going to hell for participating in breaking the trust, certainly, of the American viewing public. We were innocents watching TV. We just assumed it was all on the up and up. It wasn't. Dead on this day in 2020. Dead on this day in 2021. Where my dogs at? DMX. American rapper and actor. Come on. By modern interpretations of Christian Judeo standards, he not going to heaven. DMX. All right. Dead on this day in 2022. 2022. This is I'm gonna put this is sad. I'm gonna put this person in heaven, because I do believe in second chances. And then when second chances are cut short, very sad. On this day in 2022, Dwayne Haskins was struck and killed by a car on a Florida. There's a lot of stuff about that, but man, that he didn't seem like a bad kid. He seemed like, I mean, he wasn't a bad kid. He wasn't like a gang banger, drug dealing, raping women. He had some addiction issues. It was just a sad story about how that, he was getting a chance. He was fighting for a comeback. He was, I'm putting him in heaven. A young life. Very young life. 23, 24, I think he was, something like that. All right, that's going to do it, folks. That's the first 3 quarters of today's show. Boy, oh boy. What does that matter? Did you see he was drunk? Poor dude. No, you're right, Adam. He should die in a terrible way that a young person who has problems with addiction should. What is the point there? Oh, maybe you were not being that way. Maybe I took that the wrong way. Did you see he was drunk? Poor dude. Okay, I took that the wrong way, Adam. I'm so sorry. We're on the same page. We're on the same page. So right now you're firing because of the delay. You're firing off your response. Stop your response. I know you said poor dude. I read it wrong. I read it wrong, and I shouldn't have underestimated you in that way, and I apologize. I just, I'm constantly looking for you to trigger me or for other people to trigger me, so I thought, I could get a little bolt here. But I was wrong. You were right. I'm a dick. I apologize. All right, let's move on to the topics that people are talking about today. This is the 4th quarter. This is everything that's happening in the world, or at least so far as the stuff that occurred as recently as 11:30 this morning. That's pretty much what I locked down the topics. Speaker mess. Congress has reconvened. I don't know what the latest is here, but Mike Johnson, apparently Marjorie Taylor Greene is going full Marjorie Taylor Greene on him. And, which means we don't know what's going to happen next. And there's nothing outside the realm of what is possible. Drama is building in the House of Lawmakers as lawmakers return to work on Tuesday, waiting to see if Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene will follow through on her threat to force a vote. Let's see here. You know what? I just realized something. Give me the headline. Boom. If there's an updated headline, then we know that she has done it. Was it 2:20 in the afternoon? Okay, doesn't have any breaking news about it. But yeah, okay. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is now going after this guy. Wasn't she the one? Wait. God, it's so hard to tell. Like, was she the one that led the charge against McCarthy, or was she the one that was with McCarthy? I think she was the one that was with McCarthy. And then who was after McCarthy? Wasn't there somebody after McCarthy, or did we just go straight to this guy? I don't know. I don't know. This was such a mess. Clean up your house, crazy ass Republicans. I see enough of you normal Republicans on TV shows and stuff talking about what a mess it is. Do something about it. Jesus, you got your crazy people just disrupting the wheels of this finely tuned legislative machine. Excuse me. Sometimes the stream gets a little hanky. All right, moving on. Trump trial. This was the thing yesterday. Trump tried to get his New York criminal case delayed. He said that the reason that we were going to get it delayed is because I can't possibly get a fair trial because everybody hates me. That was the argument. That was the argument that Trump's team made in New York to the appellate's court about why his criminal trial should be delayed. Okay. Everybody hates me, which I just thought like, couldn't Jeffrey Dahmer have said the same thing? I can't be on trial now because everybody hates me. I mean, no, that's what the trial is about. You're supposed to tune out all that stuff. So it didn't go as they'd hoped, and the judge just said, yeah, no, that's not a thing. A state appeals court judge Monday denied Donald Trump's bid for an emergency delay of his impending criminal trial in New York. Justice Lizbeth Gonzalez of the State Appellate Division issued the ruling after attorneys for the former president argued the trial needed to be halted immediately because an impartial jury cannot be selected. Why not? Well, then, no, that's not a thing. I mean, Charles Manson could have said the same thing. These people all hate me. Well, yeah, you did something. People found out about it. Now we're going to find out if you actually did. See, that's the court of public opinion. The court of public opinion has nothing to do with the actual court. You can't just conflate the two. Let's see. She says Gonzalez rejected the request in a one-line ruling late Monday afternoon with no explanation. All right, very good. Next happening, Israel and Iran. We've been watching this. Israel blew up the Iranian consulate in Damascus, Syria, killing a whole bunch of like top Iranian generals. Israel said that Rant said it was just murder and a provocation of war. And Israel said, no, it wasn't a consulate. It was your top strategic war command. And you guys were planning. This was preemptive. We know what you guys are planning. You're coming after it. That's what Israel says. And then Israel is like, and by the way, the fact that we killed all of your top military minds kind of pushes back on the idea that it was just an innocent consulate, right? I mean, it does. It does. It's like, hey, it was just an innocent consulate. Like, well, then how do we get all of your big, why did your Ayatollah take these pictures that were splashed around the world of him standing over the caskets of 6 people? Those were 6 randos who were just what? Clerks at the innocent consulate? Come on. So anyway, we've been waiting for Rand to respond because they have promised a response, and we don't take that shit lightly. Those people. So now we're worried. They haven't responded. Everybody was like, it's gonna happen within 72 hours, but they haven't yet. Now, why Iran hasn't responded? Everybody's wondering the same thing. The fear now is that Israel is just gonna go further. And why is Israel going to go further? Israel has lost the support of the world. Okay, they've lost with the way that they've conducted the operation in Gaza. The world, no world leader, at least no Western world leader, wants to get behind that or be associated with it, because in free democracies and free nations around the world, people have been expressing, citizens of these free nations have been expressing how awful this all looks. So Israel needs to change the narrative. And I think that they're now going to just start a larger war. Now a larger war in the region will have everybody that is criticizing them about how they're acting in Gaza possibly change their narrative into being, oh, Israel's going to get slaughtered by all of them. We've got to help now. That's what it looks like to me. Looks like Israel wants this now to become a wider war because it's the only way they can save face. Netanyahu is potentially looking at war crimes. You let this dust settle. So all in? Is Israel going all in? That's a scary thought. And again, I am in no way, shape, or form qualified to have any kind of a real smart guy opinion on this stuff. But man, it looks scary. Iran versus Israel. Here we go. And I told you yesterday, because of all of this, I have fallen into a YouTube and Wikipedia hole. What do we call it? An asshole? Yeah, I fell into an asshole about, the end of the world, how nuclear war is going to start, what the saber rattling is going to look like, before the bombs start to fall. And it looks like everything that we're seeing right now. Freaky. All it's going to take is one NATO something or other, airship, boat, peacekeeper force, whatever. All it's going to take is one NATO to catch a stray bullet. And now all of a sudden, now we've got a ratchet. I mean, it's just, we are so, and we go through our lives. I'm a weirdo. I fell through the hole. I'm reading all of this stuff. But most of us, and thankfully, this is how we detach. We just go through our lives because if that happens, that's going to happen. I'm just telling you, I am more tuned into this now than I think the regular people because 1, I'm a hermit, and 2, I have recently just fallen through some crazy, man, scary. Can I talk about something I'm actually watching that I watched that's super cool? Oh, at the end of the show. Okay, you know what? At the end, oh man, I was going to do this as a separate thing. I'm so obsessed, I can't get it out of my head. Told you about it yesterday. There's a YouTube movie. It's like an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half movie. It's not a movie. Stop thinking it's a movie. It is a movie, though. But it doesn't look like a movie. So when you put it on, you're like, I thought this was a movie. No, it doesn't look like a movie. It looks like you're watching BBC coverage of the start of World War III. That's what it is. In real time. How World War III is going to start, as covered by the BBC. This was produced in conjunction with the BBC. They're using real BBC anchors, real BBC people. It looks exactly like the hours leading up to all-out nuclear war all around the globe. Oh, and it is compelling. Anyway, I wanted to do this special video a reaction video, if you will, where we just watch it. We just watch, and then we can't watch the whole thing because it's an hour and a half. But we can watch like we can react to the last 7 minutes of the world as it plays out on BBC. Oh man, it was so good. I mean, good for me. I'm weird. I like that stuff. You know, I'm like edging my seat, like, oh my God. You know, a statement from Buckingham Palace. You know, like all of these cool ass things. Chills. And then when the bombs fall, ugh, oh my God, what happens? Like, do you ever wonder? You know how we always get the this is a test. This is only a test of the emergency broadcast. We get to see what that's really like when shit happens. When it's not a test. And they don't say it's not a test. They just say it's happening. Here's what's coming. Here's how much time you got. Here are the cities that are affected. Man, freaky. We'll do that. We have to do that because I just got it because I can't get it out of my head. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's called World War III BBC. I don't know, just if you look at it. Anyway, it's coming. We might actually not have to do a reaction to it on YouTube because if this Iran and Israel shit doesn't calm down a little bit, we might actually be living that scenario. Oh, the announcement that Meade, I think it was Meade Air Force Base in California, has been hit. BBC News, they're like, we're now getting breaking report. We're looking, these are pictures. These are pictures outside of Meade Air Force Base in Sacramento, California. And you see like a nuke cloud. And it's like, you're like, Meade Air Force Base has been, and then we get interrupted, and it's like the Prime Minister of, it's crazy. Crazy. It's good. I don't know what it's called. You can find it. BBC, World War III in real time, something like that. I don't know, but it's good. It's good. What else do we have? Let's see. Zoo animals during the eclipse. Apparently, we celebrated the eclipse yesterday, coming up on just about 24 hours since the world ended. Look at us, 24 hours post. We're all dead. Did you know that? We're all dead. We just don't know it. So let's go. Clean slate. Clean slate. We all live pre-eclipse and post-eclipse. Clean slate. Start over. This is the afterlife. Let's make it so. So apparently zoo animals, I asked, during the eclipse, I was like, is the dog acting weird? The dog wasn't acting weird. The dog slept through the whole thing. She wanted to go out, right? Remember, like just before the eclipse, but I don't know if I can't say that was eclipse related. What do I know? But then when the actual eclipse was happening, she was just laying there. She wasn't doing nothing. But apparently, the Dallas zoo animals, they went a little bit nutty. They started to freak out some. We got video of it, so let's watch that. I don't know what that's about. Like, I mean, I guess they're tuned into what? The tidal pole of the lunar, and they're tuned. I don't know what it means. Hold on, I'm trying to find the video. Unfortunately, this news source that I'm pulling off of. Here it is. All right, so let's watch this. Well, that's too big. All right. So these are a whole bunch of animals at the Dallas Zoo getting wacky. Boom. There you go. All right, here's I want to watch the full video. All right, here we go.
At just $10
what?
per subscription.
No way. Wait, when I move off it, does that stop? All right, I guess we got
The new QuickBooks Ledger is a simplified solution for your year-end tax only and low transaction
animals running around in the zoo.
Ledger helps you streamline operations, simplified.
We have no idea if the animals are running around in the zoo because of the eclipse. They just happen to coincidentally start running around. How often during the day do they just run around? Is this rare? I don't know.
Get started. Sign into QuickBooks Online Accountant or give our sales team a call. A cost-effective solution built to simplify your
Is it?
Books Ledger.
All right, here we go. Why does it stop when I move away? Okay. All right, look at that. You got an ostrich running. You got ostriches running. That's just animals running. Although that little donkey, that little zebra looks. All right, there you go. That's a stupid story. What I would care, I don't even know if you guys could see it. Was it moving on your side? There were some other cool stuff though. Here I got some cool eclipse stuff we can show since we're talking eclipse in this portion of the rundown. There was some very cool Dallas stuff. Very cool video and imagery from this happening in Dallas. Let's see. I like that one. No. Okay, so here, like, there's this one. This one's cool. This shows time lapse. Boop. Here we go. Here's a cool time lapse of. Well, I'll make it bigger. There you go. Well, all right, yeah, well, that's as long as it lasted. Oh, exciting for us. All right, let's see. There's another one here. Dallas, Texas TV is a great follow, by the way. Oh, here we go. Let's try this. Way, I was looking at this and I'm like, wow, that is a really pretty view of Dallas. That is a really where is that? That's like that's like south east of the Main Street Gardens, right? That's like a weird part of like Dallas that I don't really think would be this photogenic, but this is a really pretty. Look at this thing. What is like this park down here? What is this? I don't even know what this is. It looks great. All right, wasn't that fun? We all enjoyed dying yesterday. Welcome to the afterlife. Your new life begins now. Adam says, screw Dallas, Texas TV. They steal content and repost it as their own to make money. Even when they give credit, they still are stripping the original poster of any clicks. And okay, that's a little bit too deep in the weeds for me. I just enjoy the content. Yes. Am I an enabler of the bandito digital theft that occurs around us in the viral world? Yeah, I am. I'm complicit. I don't have time to be that upset about such minute things, but if you do, there you are. All right, moving on. Let's see, what else do we have? So a woman went a little nutballs yesterday. This was in Florida. She the eclipse made her start driving down a Florida highway, shooting randomly at people. She said that God made her do it, and it was timed in with the eclipse. So that's, again, folks, we need to focus on the mental health of our fellow citizens, because we all got something. Ooh, that's gonna be expensive. Oh, wait till you see that bill. Ain't nobody better gonna be comfortable with that bill. But we got to do it. It says here, a woman who shot at multiple cars during the solar eclipse said that God made her do it. The alleged shooter, Taylin Nichelle Celestine, 22 years old, from Georgia, fired at random vehicles as she drove down a Florida highway. Prior to, this is the part that I like. Prior to the incidents, she had reportedly told staff at a local hotel where she was staying that she was leaving now to go on a shooting spree. All right. Doesn't say if those people called police or not. That would be the question, although this is from the Daily Star, so I don't really, they don't hire journalists. They hire people who don't mind writing shit. The alleged shooter, Taylor Nichelle Celestine, fired at random vehicles as she drove prior to the incident. She had reportedly told staff at a local hotel that she was going on a shooting spree directed by God as she checked out. How was your stay? It was terrific. And can I just say, your access to God that I found at this hotel is tremendous. Excuse me? Yes, I'm going on a shooting spree. Doesn't say. She also allegedly informed them that it was in relation to the solar eclipse. While traveling westbound, the suspect entered Interstate 10 at mile marker 112 in a purple Dodge Challenger. Sweet ride, crazy chick. Less than 5 miles into the interstate, the suspect opened fire on passing cars, hitting them multiple times. Glass shards hit the driver of one vehicle from a shattered window, and a bullet grazed his arm. but he managed to guide his car to this. Okay, well, we don't need these crazy people. Crazy people don't need a reason to trigger them to be crazy, but I imagine we should have been on high alert yesterday for crazy, because an eclipse seems like a trigger. Seems like it could be a trigger, is what I'm saying. Moving on. Let's see. TikTok. We got a TikTok update. So we know that the House, there's all kinds of people in the House going, we're going to ban TikTok. And you always got to wonder, well, how's that going to play in the Senate? A lot of nonsense comes out of the House, and then it's met on deaf ears or blind eyes as it makes its way to the upper house. But not TikTok is going away, folks. It looks, there seems to be, this seems to be a bipartisan issue. And again, I love TikTok. I don't really TikTok much, but I can see, I love it. And I can see why it's dangerous, because it is by far the most addictive of all the social sites. I lose time. It's like being abducted by aliens. I'd like say I got to reboot my smart TV or something for some reason. I'll be like, all right, I'm going to reboot my smart TV. And that takes about 2 minutes to get fully rebooted and ready to go. I'm like, what am I going to do for 2 minutes? I'm like, well, I'll just go on TikTok. 3 hours later, seriously, that happens to me all the time. TikTok makes my legs fall asleep. You know why? Because I take TikTok into the bathroom with me when I'm having one of my movements, and I stay in there so long after I'm done with my thing. I stay in there so long that my legs fall asleep. That's what TikTok does. So don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. And I also think that maybe we ought to look into it, because I've never been around such a powerful drug. That desire to just, what's next? What's next? Oh my God, what's next? It's just very entertaining. I can't imagine, in the era of TikTok, that anybody is looking at magazines while waiting for a doctor. I can't wait to have to wait for a doctor my next visit, so that I can just sit there and TikTok it's just going to be another 30 minutes. We're so sorry about the wait. Not a problem, baby. Not a problem. I got nothing but dogs doing tricks for the next 20 minutes. So we're good. It is a powerful drug. I don't know what it's doing to us. I don't know what it's doing to me. I like it, but of course I like everything. That's what a drug is. A dude in the middle of doing cocaine, I don't know. I can see why it's so deadly. I sure like it. That's a problem. So anyway, we know about all the rabble that's been caused in the House over the Chinese ownership of ByteDance. ByteDance, the parent company that owns the majority of what TikTok is. Chinese company, ByteDance. We know that that's all been rumbling about in the House, but now we got Mitch McConnell in the Senate. McConnell urges action on bill to restrict TikTok. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell called for action to restrict TikTok on Monday, saying it's a platform that is beholden to our foremost strategic competitor. And they got us. I'm sorry. Yeah. Foremost strategic competitor, foremost strategic scrub-redditor. That doesn't mean nothing to me. They got me. They got me when I'm taking a dump. They got me when I'm killing time in traffic. They got me, and that's something that we should be concerned about. Momentum in the Senate has stalled for a bill that would ban TikTok in the U.S. unless Chinese parent company ByteDance sells its stake. McConnell is now going to the forefront of the issue. All right, now you get the bigger. There's no bigger name in the Senate, although he's leaving, but still he's there. He's going out with this big one. Here's what I think. Here's what I don't get. I understand the concern that so many American citizens has allowed access to their phones to the Chinese government, because a couple steps down the road, that's who ultimately, it's a communist dictatorship over there. I don't care what ByteDance says. We're an independent company. I'm like, yeah, until the government shows up at your offices and says, give us your, access or whatever. I don't know how it works. I watch movies. That's it. But I can see how that could play out. And that is a concern that so many American citizens have their phones infiltrated by something that could have that happen. So here's what I don't get. Why isn't there just an American company that if there is this big problem, why couldn't an American company just pop up and go, all right, we're going to do exactly like TikTok, if they are in fact our foremost strategic enemy? Who cares? Steal their tech and let's go. Let's roll. This is America. Why can't we have that? And then we'll just let our government? Because remember Steve Mnuchin? Steve Mnuchin wanted in on the ByteDance purchase if there was some sort of a changeover, like if ByteDance was willing to walk away from TikTok because of America, which I don't think they're going to be willing to do. They're going to be like, America's just like one country. We're like all over we're not going to walk away from this. However, you can expect if America does move forward, other European nations and Western Alliance nations would probably join in. And so there would be a dent in TikTok's global reach, certainly into the West. But I don't know why Steve Mnuchin's going to come in and he's going to buy it. And now we're all cool with the mooch having, access to our phones. Not me. That's no worse. As a matter of fact, I might trust the Chinese more than I trust that guy, Mnuchin. Remember him? He was the head of the Treasury because he was a movie producer. Yes. And he had his actress wife who was hot, but she did something. I don't remember what. It doesn't matter. I don't consider Mnuchin a serious guy. I consider him a golf buddy hire and that kind of thing. So he was head of the Treasury. I don't even know if he did a good job. I don't know if you can do a bad job with the Treasury. It seems like all that shit is on autopilot. Guys just come in for a couple of years and they redecorate the office and then they're gone. But whatever. I just didn't trust that guy. So I don't like him being the guy that they want to bring or that wants to come in to TikTok. But I would just Zuckerberg, whatever. Everybody's grandma's already on Facebook, right? And so Zuckerberg seems to be okay, at least. No, he's not. He's the enemy. Okay, then everybody quit Facebook. Oh, you're not willing to do that, huh? Oh, but he's the enemy. Oh, but you're still on Facebook? I barely use Facebook. Oh, but you have it. Well, it's just to stay in touch with my kids now that they're away at school. Okay, right, because your kids love Facebook. No, Facebook is being kept alive by older people. The same people who hate Zuckerberg the most. It's such a weird thing. But okay. I use Facebook to promote this show. And if I'm being honest, to see what my mom's getting into. That's it. That's what I use Facebook for. My son doesn't, he's not a Facebook guy. Because to his generation, Facebook is, where your aunt is. Facebook is where your grandma is. These kids want to go places where they can swear. They want to go places where they can talk shit. You can't do that. When in the thread, suddenly you got you sainted grandma going, we raised you better than to talk. Like, you don't need that. You don't want that. So that's why kids are never going to be on Facebook. So go ahead. Zuck, you got all the old people. They seem, they hate you, but they're using your product. Let's let him just introduce a knockoff Kirkland variety TikTok. Let's do it. Let's see here. So what is interesting about McConnell now coming out and taking the lead as far as the Republicans are concerned in the Senate? Because the bill as far as, conversation among Republicans and Democrats, it's not really going anywhere in the Senate. It's got way more momentum in the House. The person that has been pushing it the hardest in the Senate has been Chuck Schumer, who is the Democrat guy. He's the leader. So, right? He's the leader of the House. Yeah. He's majority leader. But McConnell, who controls, all the old guard Republican dude, he's the former majority leader. He hasn't been behind it, and that's been a reason for it. But now McConnell and Schumer are both calling for TikTok. So I'm telling you, it's gonna go away. It's gonna go. I don't know how does that work? Does it just disappear on our phones, or does the government have a switch they flip and then suddenly, because of GPS and nobody? I don't know how that works. But it's going away. I'm telling you, TikTok is going away. And as somebody who uses it all the time, there's going to be a part of me that's going to be like, okay, but when's the new one coming? Because I really need that. It's a drug. TikTok is a drug. All right, here's a story out of Florida about a 23-year-old woman who was posing as a 13-year-old girl in order to date 14-year-old boys. Yep. How'd that work for you? Did you follow that? She is a 23-year-old woman who was posing as a 13-year-old girl in order to date a 14-year-old boys. Try it again. All right, we'll read this story. First, I want to show her to you because, that's always part of the fun. Let me see this 23-year-old woman that was having sex. Woman 23 posed as 14, it says here, but the story says 13. Woman 20... Woman 23 posed as 14-year-old schoolgirl to have sex with teenage boy 30 times. All right, let's see what she looks like. All right, so this is a 23-year-old woman who is trying to pose or pass as a 13, 14-year-old girl. All right. Nah. She doesn't look. Here's what I do know. The 14-year-old boy who she was targeting and became her boyfriend and her girlfriend. Now she's 23. The 14-year-old boy, he knew she wasn't 13. He just wasn't saying anything though. He's like, whatever. Fine with it. Let me give you the story here of how this all went down. No pun intended. Alyssa Ann Zinger is who we're looking at. Any guesses on where she's from? I bet it would be one of your top 3 guesses. Yes, she's from Florida. And yes, she's from Tampa. Alyssa Ann Zinger. And her last name is Zinger. Ooh. Alyssa Ann Zinger from Tampa, Florida. She's been accused of posing as a schoolgirl to lure in underage boys as young as 12 for sex. She's now facing fresh charges. Let's see here. Let's see if there are any pictures of her. Any other crazy pictures of her? Is that her in court? All right, it's there. It's going to be her in court. Let's get a look at her in court. There she is. That's what. Does that get any bigger? Oh, there she is. She looks like in court. She looks like she's wearing her Handmaid's Tale outfit. Or I guess that's a little revealing. What is that? Is she wearing like a bulletproof vest? Why is she? I like the dude behind her. The dude right behind her in the picture with his hand like this. He's like, oh man, she coming to my prison? We're going to separate places, right? Look at that. That is scary. And then look at the scary serial killer behind him. Holy crap. Anyway, 23-year-old girl. She's being charged now with extra. This as the story goes, this was revealed in July and it was one guy, but now it's turned out that she's kind of done this before and that they were as young as 12 and that she's just, I don't know what to say about it. And here's what I will say and we'll move on. Don't have as much concern about this story as I would say if it was a 23-year-old man and a 12-year-old girl. I would have way more concern about that. That's just the world that I live in. She's crazy. This is a 23-year-old woman who would go to these lengths in order to have some kind of a romantic relationship with a 14-year-old boy, probably has some severe mental things going on, but you're not going to convince me that this boy has been victimized. You're not. A 14-year-old boy with a 23-year-old woman who's attractive, he's not been victimized. He doesn't see it that way. I'm sorry. It's not the same power dynamic as it is when it's a man and a woman. It's a completely different thing. Society sees it as differently. A woman is being taken advantage of by, never mind. Anyway, I keep saying it. I've got a 14-year-old boy and I do not want my 14-year-old boy having a relationship with his hot history teacher at the high school level or whatever. But I can just tell you that I might go to jail murdering a history teacher who tried to have sex with my 14-year-old daughter. And I don't think there's any danger of that happening with a teacher trying to have sex with my 14-year-old son. It's different. That's just reality, man. And it may not sound, it shouldn't be different. They're both children. Yeah, they are. They are both children, but they're not identical as children. There are different experiences that boys and girls have, and they're filtered differently, and they inform the rest of their life differently. A 14-year-old boy who is chosen by she's an attractive woman who is chosen by an attractive older woman for sexual experiences, which you have to believe would be the boy's first sexual experiences. I believe the boy comes out of that being uber confident. I believe the boy comes out of that with a completely different way of now embarking on life as a sexual adult, even though 14-year-olds are certainly not sexual adults. That's where the crime is. There is a crime. I'm just talking about what seems worse. But a 14-year-old girl who is her first sexual experience is by a pedophile guy who is Well, what about the woman? She's a pedophile too. Right. She's a woman pedophile. A woman pedophile is not as scary to a 14-year-old boy as a fully grown male pedophile might be to a 14-year-old girl. See, that's the reality I'm getting at. There are total shifts in power dynamics. A 14-year-old boy, I don't believe, can be raped by a grown woman. We'll call it rape. It'll be statutory rape and all that, but I don't believe, when I think of people being forced to have sex against their will, I believe that they're being held down. They're being somehow imprisoned in the moment. 14, there is no woman that my 14-year-old son would try to have sex with that my 14-year-old son couldn't pick up and throw across the room. No, that's your son. That's your son. But it just in general, boys. So, but I'm telling you, my 14-year-old daughter, the idea of my 14-year-old daughter and some, assistant football coach who also teaches history. But no, that's different. That is completely power dynamics. Controversial takes, but whatever. All right, moving on. Okay, so here's a story that I saw that I mentioned earlier. It's about how divided are we? It's a very in-depth piece that Axios put together. It was culled from a whole bunch of different reports. But basically, here's the premise of this, and I thought we could run through this real quick. Because this show, as I say, attempts to thread that needle. We aren't the crazy right. We ain't the loony left, right? We're the normal people. We are the people, again, I'll put it to you this way. This show is for the people who are welcomed at their families' Thanksgiving dinners and not banned. This show is for the people who have never been arrested in a Target for whatever. This show is for normal people, okay? This show is just for the rest of us who are just going through our lives, looking at the world going, well, that's bullshit, right? But it does seem, it is unavoidable, especially in the echo chamber that has become where we spend much of our time, social media. It does seem that we are super divided. Oh, this country can never survive. Oh, the loudest and the craziest are the ones that are getting amplified the most. That's just a fact. Normal, reasonable people who are willing to engage in, debate with people that they slightly disagree with are not coming together. They're not being heard because of, the craziness, the stuff that gets clicks, the wild, outlandish claims designed to do nothing but stir people up. So I thought this was an interesting story because they talked about the major issues in America and about how random polling across the country, irregardless of your political affiliation or how you voted and all this kind of stuff, how do people in America feel about these issues? Okay. And it's broken down in the numbers. I'll just read you what it says here. We'll get into I'll read you the setup so you understand what this poll was. And then we'll go through the results. Let's see. Yes, deep divisions do exist on certain topics among the United States citizens of the United States. But on almost every topic of monthly outrage, it's a fringe view or an example amplified by the loudest voices. That's what I said. No. Here's an answer. No, most Christians aren't white Christian nationalists who see Donald Trump as a godlike figure. Most Christians are ignoring politics and wrestling with their own faith in daily life. That's true. That is absolutely true. Most. But who are the ones that we get all stirred up? The loudest ones, the ones that get, 20,000 retweets on Twitter because of some bullshit sermon they said at their Jerkwater, Arkansas church, right? That's not all of them. It's not. And we need to stop thinking that it's all of them. Here's another one. No, most college professors aren't trying to silence conservatives or turn kids into liberal activists. Most are just teaching math or physics or biology. Very true. I have a friend who's a college professor at Loyola in Chicago. And I couldn't imagine him being what Fox News is telling me, what college professors. I'm like, what? Is this before or after he's in the gym shooting 500 shots that's his thing. He works out, he shoots 500 baskets a day. He's not a radical. He's just a teacher, man. He's just a teacher who enjoys college students. But no, If you're a college professor in America today, you're considered to be some crazy liberal whack job who's a communist who's trying to... That's fucking bullshit. There are some, of course. It's not all of them. It says, no, most kids don't hate Israel and are running around chanting from the river to the sea. On most campuses, most of the time, students are doing what students have always done on college campuses. But you see, the loudest and the most visible ones are the ones that do that. And they're doing that. And how is it getting amplified? Because that's interesting. That is something. And then it gets amplified. And then somebody in Iowa, no offense, Jeff, I just used that randomly. Somebody in Iowa, thousands of miles away, go, look at what's happening on all our college campuses. It's not true. It's just not true. But it's a perception that is used to divide us even further into thinking that this is an all-out war and that we've got to get ready now. And it says, no, most Republicans don't want to ban all abortions starting at conception. And no, most Democrats don't want to allow abortions all the way up to the moment of birth. That is very true. That's a subject that is complete. Most people can find a reasonable solution to the abortion, but the loudest and craziest among us are the ones that get amplified. So they're the ones that those are the only possible solutions to this problem are coming from the crazy right and the crazy left. No, there are real solutions. Let's see here. No, most people aren't fighting on X, fighting on Twitter X. No, most people aren't fighting on X. Turns out the vast majority of Americans never tweet at all. Isn't that the truth? If we think that what we're seeing on our timelines on these social media sites are exactly what... I can't tell you, I have friends who are not on social media at all, and they are active and they are happy and they lead lives. And then I say, well, did you hear about this? It was on Twitter. And they're like, that's not even a real story. Well, but it's the most important thing I'm talking about now. Most of the world is not on Twitter. Most of your neighbors are not on Twitter. You know who's on Twitter? The people you know on Twitter. It's pretty rare to actually run into your neighbor on Twitter or run it. It's just not. All right, let's get into some of these things, okay? So this is how Americans feel about these issues, okay? Issue 1, the right of everyone to equal protection under the law. 91% of Americans agree with that. 91% of Americans, when polled, believe the right of everyone to equal protection under the law. 91%. 91% also believe that every American citizen should have the right to vote. 90% believe in freedom of speech, which is interesting. Where's that other 7? Or actually, it's 7 believe somewhat important. 7% believe freedom of speech is somewhat important. 90% believe it is extremely important. 88% of us agree on our right to privacy. 84% agree about our right to religion. 77% agree on a free press. 77. 54% of us agree on the right to bear and keep arms. Okay, but even on that one, it's the majority agree that that's a thing. There is room for us normal people to find common ground and legislate accordingly moving forward. No, not everybody's going to be happy, and the big crazy loud assholes on the right are going to be even louder and crazier, and the crazy loud assholes on the left are even going to be louder and crazier. But we need to stop acting like these people have the influence to actually drive the national discourse. That's where we got in trouble. We started taking the bait from all of this, and those of us in the middle, this poll proves that we're all basically in agreement on the most important things. The fundamentals of being an American. We all agree on this. I'll tell you, it goes back for me. I told you, I've fallen into a Cold War hole and I'm like way into all this stuff. When we had an enemy, we were way more united. We were a way more united country when we all knew that Russia was out there with missiles pointed at us. Since that went away, we turned on each other. And now we're all just, let's break up the country. Yeah, because that isn't what the Soviet Union wanted all along. They're playing the long game. Yeah, let's have states secede. The United States of America is a failure. That's what you're advocating for when you want that kind of shit. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have? How divided are we? Not as much as we probably think, according to a new mega poll in Axios. All right, Terrence Howard. Let's talk about Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard is suing CAA. You know Terrence Howard, Hustle and Flow. Terrence Howard, I think he was in the original Iron Man. Terrence Howard, Lucius Lyon. Is his name Lucius? From Empire. I like Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard's a pretty cool actor. In a couple of seconds, I expect Adam Rayna to let me know that he was accused of beating women. So, that's going to come. That's going to pop up in the chat room any minute. I didn't follow that story because separate the art from the artist. I just enjoy movies that he's in. He's good as a character. I don't give a shit what he's like when dinner is cold on the table at home. I'm not paying to watch that. Does mean that he's probably not a good dude, but all right. So Terrence Howard is suing CAA. That's the Creative Artist Agency. It's the biggest one in the business. He is suing them for $120 million. He used to be a client of CAA, and he says that now that he's gone over his books, he can see that they left on the table at least $120 million that he should have earned while making the television show Empire. To which my first question was, they left 120 on the table? How much did he make for Empire? What? What he's claiming is, actually, it became more clear once I read the article. So what he's claiming is that his agents at CAA, who were negotiating his price per episode, even though he was in the top 5 show, it was a big show when they were negotiating this. It was a big show. It was the biggest show on Fox. Or hottest show, or however you want to say it. But he says that he had at his most only made $300,000 per episode. That's right. That's all. Just $300,000 an episode to play make-believe. 23 episodes a year season. Do the math. That's the network schedule of the time. Not like Netflix, where they only do like 10 episodes, sometimes 8. Lazy ass Brits. So 300,000. His complaint was at the very same time, a show with an equal audience, Big Bang Theory, their leads were making $2 million per episode. So he's like, why was I only making 300,000 and they were making 2 million? I don't know. I don't understand the economy of it. But now he's suing because, as it turns out, his CAA agents who were negotiating with the producers of Empire, those very same CAA agents also represented the producers of Empire. So you can see Lee Daniels and somebody else were also represented by CAA. So he's claiming he's a crazy, he's a bit nutty, Terrence Howard, but kind of got a point. I mean, I would also be like, that's some bullshit. How was that allowed to happen? Why was that not disclosed? That I am their client and that they are working in my best interest, but also the person they're negotiating with is also their client who they've pledged to work in their best interest. I mean, it's Hollywood. So I want to show you him. I want to show you what's going on with Terrence Howard, because he went on a podcast and just started talking. And my man is making some choices, is I guess what I'm trying to get to. And these choices are fun. Okay, let's get rid of that. He's my age. That's why I'm interested in this, because I just do not feel that I could pull this look off. Here we go. So this is Terrence Howard on a podcast where he talks about basically all this stuff. We're not going to watch the podcast, but I do want you to just kind of see what he's looking like.
Talk with Daphne Fini. I am so excited to give you another exclusive one-on-one interview with the one and only Terrence D. Howard. I didn't say the whole middle name.
I like it though.
You like it?
I like Deshaun.
Deshaun. I like Deshaun too.
Mama gave me Deshaun.
She did. That's awesome. Because you're special.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
I was on a little bus.
Not the short one, though.
I was on a short bus.
Not the short little bus?
Yeah, when I was in second grade, because I was saying, wow, that's the prettiest color blue I've ever heard.
And the teacher was like, you can't, colors don't have. So I was like, yes, they do. It's like, no, no, they don't. And they ended up sending me to a remedial school for about a year. And I was just like, nah. The people that would.
All right, I just want to pause it right here. Yeah, I know he's talking about how he was on what he's calling the short bus. He is calling it himself the short bus. I was on that short bus, he's saying. He's telling that story. I don't want to interrupt it. But what is that, a wig? Is that a wig? Is that coming? Is that because, look, I'm telling you, as a bald man, I might embrace a new male fashion trend where we're all going around in wigs. I could get behind as a bald man, I'm telling you. I don't want to be the first through the door. I'm not going to be an early adopter. I'm not this dude right here. He seems to be first through the door. That's a wig, right? Dudes wearing wigs? Dude, you always got to look for like what the next trend is in fashion. That's not one. Here's one that I'll tell you I never understood. Remember when crisscross made it a fashion trend to wear your clothes backwards, right? Remember that was a thing? Okay. And I was like, that, I didn't get that, but I went, whatever, let's start looking for new things. So ever since then, I'm like, why do our shoes have to match? Why won't somebody cool just start going out wearing two different shoes? He's got a high top on one foot and then he's got like a tennis shoe on the. What up? Tell me how that's not a thing. Anyway, we don't want to get in the weeds on that. Wigs. Are wigs for dudes coming back? Coming back. And by coming back, I mean, since like the 1800s when judges used to wear powdered wigs and stuff. Are we bringing powdered wigs back? Oh, that would be a wild fashion trend. I don't want powdered wigs. I would not get that hair. I mean, look, see, I would not get that hair. I don't think well, now wait a second. That color probably would go well with my natural coloring. The feathering in the front, I don't know if I would choose that. Wigs for dudes. All right, there you go. That's Terrence Howard. I just think he's making some kind of wild choices. I applaud him. Bring the wig back. Go out walking around with a pompadour. I'll do it. Come on, we could have fun with it. Bald men. Larry David has been telling us this for over 20 years. Bald men we are the minority. Absolutely nobody gives one shit about it all. And maybe that's fine. But it doesn't lessen the struggle for the individuals going through it. Maybe we are not as pressing an issue of minorities. Maybe you don't have to think about making fun of us. Maybe you don't have to think about the way we're marginalized simply because of what social beliefs concerning male virility and hair loss are. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't stop our suffering. All right, moving on. Oh, no, not moving on. I wanted to mention one other thing about Terrence Howard. I learned this about him. Do you guys know? So I guess we all know about Woody Harrelson, right? Like Woody Harrelson. What do we know about Woody Harrelson? Oh, he's a cool actor and friends with Matthew McConaughey. And, once you get through, he was on Cheers and, that. Once you get through those, the next thing that everyone tells you about Woody Harrelson is, and his dad is believed to have been involved in the Kennedy assassination, right? We know about that. Let's call him Hank Harrelson. I don't know. Woody Harrelson's dad was one of these figures back then who was, believed to have been involved in the Kennedy assassination. Look it up. I don't have time for it. Terrence Howard got one of them kind of things too, although not as large scale a crime. It was still a national crime that got national headlines. Terrence Howard's father is the famous Cleveland. I only say famous because I heard the story and I went, that's crazy. And then I was reading it and it's like, oh, it was all over the country and it was published in, 300 newspapers. Terrence Howard's father is known as the Santa Line Killer. The Santa Line Killer. Do you know what this is? Terrence Howard was there. Terrence Howard witnessed this at like 2 years old. So it was Christmas time. Terrence Howard's father, what was his name? All right, here we go. You know what? I want to make sure we get his name right. The Santa Line slayings was a nationally publicized incident that occurred on December 21st, 1971 in Cleveland, Ohio. The incident resulted in the death of one man, Jack Fitzpatrick. Tyrone Howard was convicted of manslaughter and served 11 months in prison. Terrence Howard's dad stabbed a man to death in line to see Santa at a mall. Not a mall, it was a department store in Cleveland, Ohio. It became a huge thing. And it was Terrence Howard who was the kid who they were trying to get the picture. He was the baby. Here's what happened, a little more complicated than that. And Terrence Howard, by the way, is in a feud with his father over the retelling of the story because Terrence Howard's father says that Terrence has been telling this story for his own personal publicity, and he's telling it all wrong. So basically what happened here is what we know. There were people in line to see Santa on the 21st in Cleveland. And this guy, Jack Fitzpatrick, accused Tyrone Howard of allowing people to cut the line. Okay. And we've all seen this. We need people to behave badly. However, it is acknowledged by police and all that stuff that Jack Fitzpatrick was wrong. He wasn't allowing people to hide, to cut the line. What he was he was waiting in line, and then his wife and son, Terrence, they were like in the bathrooms or something. So he was holding the place in line for them. And then when they showed up, he got in front of them. And then that's when Jack Fitzpatrick was like, what are you? Apparently, now this is the Terrence Howard version. The Terrence Howard movie star version is the men said, why are you letting them ends? You know, used racial slurs and it became a racial sling. And my father stood up for his family and he stabbed him. And that's the way Terrence Howard tells the story. It's how Terrence Howard told the story on Oprah Winfrey. His father tells a completely different story. His father is like, it wasn't a racial incident at all. It was men. Here's what his father says about the incident. Okay. We've got Terrence Howard's version of events, and then we've got Tyrone Howard's version of events. So here's the guy who actually did the stabbing. He's saying this is what happened. Tyrone Howard was also invited to appear on Oprah with Terrence, but he refused. Shortly after Terrence's account of the incident became public, Tyrone gave an interview to the Cleveland newspaper, The Plain Dealer, in which he claims that his son misrepresented his story and maintained that the altercation was not racially motivated. Terrence Howard's father says, it wasn't nothing racial that went down. It was two men standing there, both of us acting like damn fools instead of one of us taking the man's role and walking away. That's admirable. If that is in fact, I mean, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to take the point of view of the man who served 11 months for stabbing another man. I'm going to take his view of events in this instance more than the 2-year-old who's now a Hollywood guy who's, going to try and, what I've been through. I'm telling you, actors and actresses. Anyway, interesting life, Terrence Howard. Interesting life. What else do we have here? A nail file. There are reports that a woman some random woman that they don't know, gave young Terrence Howard's dad was getting the shit kicked out of him by this big Irish guy. He was getting the shit kicked out of him. And apparently another black woman in the crowd handed him a nail file and he stabbed this Fitzpatrick guy to death. And that's what happened. Anyway, look, it's an Irish guy in 1972 who's willing to throw hands in line at a department store surrounded by kids. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. Do I believe he probably said a few N-words? Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. But as Terrence Howard's father says, that's not the reason for it. Terrence Howard made it seem like the reason this happened was because we were black. It was just because we were black. And Terrence Howard's dad's going, it's not because we're black. It's because there was miscommunication and then two dudes started acting tough and then it went there. That could happen. Doesn't need to have a certain skin color. Although probably in the fight, as I say, I'm sure Jack Fitzpatrick threw a couple of N-words, but that doesn't mean the reason for the fight was racism. The reason for the fight was men are stupid, as Terrence Howard's father says. The Santa Line murders. Go look it up. It's a fun story. Well, it's not fun. Well, it's fun because it didn't happen to us, but it's not a fun story. Are we getting some rain? Are we starting to get a little bit of pitter patter? Sounds like we're getting some cool ass rain. Look at us, 217. Still got a bunch of stories to go. You ready to roll this week? You ready? You ready to keep going? I got nowhere to be. I do have a couple of phone calls I need to make. Oh, let me take a look. I don't know. Seems like it's trying to rain. This is like what it's been for the last 24 hours, trying to rain. You guys, I'm so excited. I am so excited. Sometimes the entertainment world comes together in such a way that you're just like, oh, maybe there is a purpose for me on this planet. If for nothing else, the purpose for me on this planet is to see this film that seems to be completely designed for yours truly. And that, when processed in such a way, can make one feel good. Hope. I'm going to hold on and I'm going to fight for life because now I got a movie I want to see. Right? That's a weird thing. I talk about my depression, but you have to constantly be creating hope. And it doesn't all have to be like big things, but just a whole bunch of little things. You just got to keep hope alive. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's true. If you can mentally keep hope alive, then you will never fall victim to these crazy mental handicaps that all of us are saddled with to some degree or another. This movie has given me hope. Also, the Bears having the number 1 and number 9 pick in the draft has given me hope. That's something that's given me hope. The Rangers repeating has given me hope. Little things, bunch of little things, man. My son going to make varsity this year? I know it's not the end of the world if he doesn't, but wouldn't that be fun? Things to hope for. We all have to have these things, and we all have to acknowledge these things, whether it's when we're laying in bed staring at the ceiling. All right, what do I got that's coming up that's I'm excited about? What do I got? These are all little tools that I've learned in therapy. Just little things. If you do them with any regularity, your life could be better. Okay, so what about this movie? Can I tell you about this movie? Oh my God, I tweeted yesterday that this is just an amazing thing. When your favorite actor is cast to play your favorite musical artist in an upcoming movie. This is perfect casting. 20th Century Fox. Or 20th Century Fox, I'm sorry, 20th Century. What is it, 1980? There's no such thing as 20th Century Fox anymore. 20th Century lands Bruce Springsteen movie starring Jeremy Allen White. Now, this is great casting, and I have to wonder how long this has been a thing because Jeremy Allen White, he was on a talk show. I think I love Jeremy Allen White. Jeremy Allen White, first time I saw him as a total unknown, nobody knew who he was. I watched season 1, episode 1, the day it debuted, and I was like, whoa, that kid's a good actor. That kid has something that I can't take my eyes off. That was Shameless. I don't know if anybody watched Shameless on Showtime, but that's where Jeremy Allen White came from. He played Lip Gallagher, the genius, troublemaking, oldest boy with a heart of gold in Shameless. Played it for 7 seasons. Tremendous as Lip Gallagher. Then he gets the Bear, which is essentially the exact same character as Lip Gallagher, just now he's a chef in the same city. It's funny, the Bear, where the restaurant and the Bear is set, is literally walking distance from the home of the Gallaghers in Shameless. So it's like the same. And he blew up on the Bear, and rightfully so, because that's a terrific show. So it's a really wonderfully well done show. Everybody on that show is blowing up. But he, first and foremost, is sort of the guy. I just saw him over the weekend in Iron Claw. The Von Erich movie? He plays Kerry Von Erich. He's terrific. He steals the movie. Zac Efron was just weird in that movie. Zac Efron was, I don't know, he was playing Kevin Von Erich, and maybe Zac Efron can't act. But you know who can act? Jeremy Allen White as Kerry Von Erich. Is it really raining? Is that what the noise is? Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. Now we're storming. Very good. So anyway, Jeremy Allen White is going to be playing Bruce Springsteen, and he's, wow, what a stupid Bruce Springsteen movie. No, man. Deliver Me from Nowhere. Okay, that's this movie. This is not just some random, beginning in Freehold, New Jersey in 1950, Bruce was born. That's not what this is. Deliver Me from Nowhere is an incredible book. If you like books about the music industry, if you like books about how these iconic things came to be and the process and the people involved and the second guessing and all that kind of stuff, then you can do a lot worse than this book, which is being turned into a movie. Deliver Me From Nowhere. Deliver Me From Nowhere is the story about Bruce Springsteen writing 2 albums at the exact same time, and then those albums becoming, well, one was Nebraska, which Nebraska is considered true Springsteen, devotees are like, he was never more artistically tuned in than on Nebraska in 1981. That was great. But then there was an Electrified Nebraska, a whole nother set of songs. He was so prolific. He just wrote all these songs, and there was Electrified Nebraska. And that was released after Nebraska, and that came to be known as Born in the USA. But they were just these 2 completely different albums that he was just like, Deliver Us From Nowhere. It's an amazing book about the process of what the music industry was doing. And they're like, this isn't what the people want, Bruce. And this isn't this. And he's, dedication to being an artist. And Bruce is such a deep and interesting guy that you can't just, Chris Pine could not pull, I just threw out a random actor. You need an actor who has that sort of smoldering depth in everything that he does, while at the very same time being incredibly likable and kind and loving and decent to people, but also having that darkness on the edge of town. No Bruce pun intended, but that darkness kind of inside of him. Jeremy Allen White has been cast to play Bruce Springsteen in Deliver Me From Nowhere, the making of Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska. That's the movie. Here's what it says. Scott Cooper, who treaded into music territory with his debut Crazy Heart, will write and direct the feature that will be based on the 2023 book Deliver Me From Nowhere, the making of Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska. Let's see here. Who's producing? Blah, blah, blah. The project does have the involvement of Springsteen and his manager, John Landau, giving it something essential, which is access to the music in the tapes. The film explores the making of Springsteen's 1982 album, Nebraska. What did I say, 81? Did I say 81? Yeah. Nowhere explores the making of Springsteen's 1982 album, Nebraska, which is considered to be one of the greatest albums of all time, per critics and music aficionados. The album followed the singer-songwriter's huge The River album, and the follow-up was widely expected to be a rock album with the E Street Band. Nebraska, however, has the trademark blue-collar vibe of many other Springsteen albums, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes on to explain how Springsteen wrote some other songs that were on Nebraska, but then he took them off. And then, anyway, it's very interesting. It's going to be great. If you are a freak like I am for the writing of Springsteen, the writing. I don't care if you don't like the music. I do, particularly. But for me, it's about the lyrics. For me, it's about the imagery, the a million pictures that this guy can create with one sentence. That is such a talent. Oh! And Jeremy Allen White will be playing Bruce Springsteen in the movie. All right. And I'm glad about this too, because I don't want him to have the Freddie Mercury or the Elton John. I don't want the from the time of birth and was picked on as a kid. I don't want that from Bruce. I want incredible stories and moments in time when he created things that moved me and people like me. That's what I want. I've read the Bruce bios. I know what it was like for him growing up. I know he had an overbearing dad. I know his mom was the one that encouraged him to do music. I know that, he felt feminized by his father, which is why he was so macho in the early days, like so much of a guy's guy. All right, moving on. Sonny Hostin. Let's talk about Sonny Hostin. I want to show this. Sonny Hostin is on The View, and I'm not one of these super View haters. They're just dudes out there who do hate it, whatever. I don't care. I watch a lot of View clips. Sometimes they're fun, and sometimes they're just infuriating. This is really infuriating because it's also so insidious, and it shows something that I try to point out. And I always say, well, no, maybe you don't know, but I often say that you can say anything in American media and get away with it if you say it with confidence. If you could just make something up, but if you're wearing a tie and you're on TV and somebody else in a tie is talking to you, you can say whatever it is, and the majority of people watching will just go, well, It doesn't sound right to me, but he's obviously on TV. He knows what he's talking about. That's the confidence of deception. And it's one of the keys to being able to pop while on camera. Sunny Hostin is a woman of, well, I mean, letters, right? She's a practicing attorney. And I guess that's it. I guess I don't know what else she has done, but the mere fact that she's I'm an attorney, that makes you sound like you're educated, and therefore we ought to listen. She is so stupid here. Listen to this. This was her yesterday on The View, and it irritated the shit out of me because she's saying it with confidence, and there's a lot of dumb people who are listening to what she's saying and going, yeah, because she's a smart lady who's a lawyer. And then you got Whoopi Goldberg, God bless her soul, Whoopi over there trying to rein her in. Whoopi going, yeah, no, you're wrong. Yep, no, you're wrong about that. And Sonny's like, no, I think I'm right, or whatever it is, just doubling down on it. And she's just so completely wrong. This was yesterday on The View. This is Sunny Hostin trying to draw some sort of correlation between the earthquake on Friday, the eclipse on Monday, and the emerging cicadas that are coming later in this month, or actually maybe even later this week. She's trying to make the point as Sunny Hostin. I'm a serious person. You've seen me on MSNBC and CNN talking about serious issues. I'm a serious person. She's trying to say that all of these things are because of global warming. She's manipulating, she's gaslighting, she is lying, or she's just incredibly stupid. She's either doing it on purpose or she's just dumb. She obviously doesn't know that cicadas are cyclical. From the beginning of time, every 17 years and 13 years, they emerge. What is interesting about this year is that it's the rare occasion when the 17-year brood and the 13-year brood are both emerging in the same season. That's the rarity here. It has happened before. It happened back. The last time this happened was when Thomas Jefferson was president. But it happens, and we knew it was going to happen long before anybody ever said the word global warming. Scientists had this on the schedule that this was going to happen, but here you have a woman on TV. This is what's, the environment and global warming, or however you want to phrase it. These are all incredibly important things because they have to do with this place, where we live, how we will survive. But when you get into this kind of bullshit, this is why people don't want to listen. This is stupid. Here it is. This is, Sunny Hostin, and just watch this and watch how desperately Whoopi is trying to rein her in, going, no, you don't know what cicadas are. First of all, she can't even pronounce cicadas properly. She can't pronounce cicadas properly, but she's going to go on to tell us about how they're emerging because of global warming.
Leaving, we've got a solar eclipse. We've got the earthquake. She ran down the hallway.
The rapture is here.
The rapture's here. And then also I learned that the cicadas are coming. Cicadas.
Although I love
for the first time in
Cicada.
No.
100 years.
No.
Two different. Well, this is what I read.
There's two different kinds of cicadas.
Yes, two different times are coming.
The good cicadas and the bad cicadas.
But for the first time in many, many years.
No, every 17 years this happens.
Well, that's not what I read, but maybe maybe you know better. But
in a
will
way,
say all those things together.
All right. So Whoopi said she's trying to say that this is random and it doesn't happen much and people are surprised by it. And Whoopi just said to her, no, it happens every 17 years. We knew this was going to happen. And Sunny responded with, well, that's not what I read. And Whoopi's response was, well, I guess I know more. So now she's going to spin it into global warming. Now it's a global warming thing.
Things together would maybe lead one to believe that, either climate change exists,
that's
or something is
returning. Earthquakes are not at the mercy of climate change. It's underground.
No, it happens, and the eclipse, they've known about the eclipse coming because eclipses happen.
We've got a solar eclipse.
All right, so there you go. I want to give credit to Whoopi Goldberg there for trying to rein in that batshit crazy. Well, the eclipse, so this is happening, and we had no way of knowing this was happening. Bitch, we've known the eclipse was going to happen on this day for like 100 years. Scientists were doing the math. It didn't sneak up on us. Maybe it snuck up on you. And as far as the cicadas go, they don't just emerge when they want to. They emerge every 17 years if you're brood 1, or they emerge every 13 years if you're brood 2. And this has been happening since the beginning of time as well. Doesn't sneak up on nobody. And earthquakes? Really? Why? Because we all drive Hummers? That's why there's earthquakes? I mean, maybe. But seriously, lady. Seriously. It's just such an important conversation about the way we're treating our environment, what's happening, what is actually man-related, what is actually just the evolution of this planet. That's a very important topic. And we get these rabble-rousing idiots. Don't know what they're talking. Well, Whoopi says, it happens every 17 years. It's been, Sonny says, that's not what I heard. Okay. Well, you heard wrong. And now you're on television talking to like 100 million, not 100 million, probably about 3 million. I don't know what the audience of The View is. 3 million soccer moms or other people who are, I don't know. I don't even know who the audience for that is. It's a woman's audience. Why are you being part of the patriarchy by just assuming that The View is targeting women? Because The View is targeting women. It says right there in the bylaws of the goddamn show. But are you saying that only women are home at 10 o'clock? No, I'm not saying that. The advertisers who are spending money on trying to reach those people are saying it. I'm just saying that The View is doing whatever. Oh, God. Right. Because that's all women do is stay home and work for that. No. Remember me? Raised by a single mom. That is not my view of women. I just don't like The View. But I do applaud Whoopi Goldberg for at least trying to get a handle on that madness there. Well, what did she call them? Cicadas or something? She didn't even know how. She's like, well, I'm an expert on this now, and it's a good thing I'm on television and have this platform because I'm an expert on them, and the cicadas are coming, and the earthquakes, and the comets, and all that stuff because of global warming. Yay. What else do we have? I got another video we can watch. All right, this is it. We're out of stuff. We're done with stuff. Why not? We're 35 minutes over show anyway. It's okay. I'm having fun, but I want you guys to watch something. This is a crazy ass video that I retweeted last night. You follow me on Twitter, but I want to talk to you about it because there's stuff going on. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here that I don't know if people just when they watch the video they realize it. So this is here. This is a new segment I call People We Share Oxygen With. There you go. Welcome. This is another edition of People We Share Oxygen With. So what we are looking at here, yeah. God, this is so weird. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. There we are. So I shared this last night on Twitter. It's being filmed and with a dash cam. So a man and a woman are driving. The dash cam, they have it mirrored, so that's why it looks like they're driving in England. They're not driving in England. They're in America, and you're just seeing a reverse because the camera's mirrored. Looks like they're driving on the right. What you're going to see is a woman and her complete drip of I don't know what it is, punching bag. You know, I'm just going to play it first. I'm going to play it first, and then I'm going to explain to you what's happening here. Here you go. Check this out. Oh, why do I still have the dead people thing up? I totally should have moved that. All right, let's watch this, and I'll explain what's going on here.
Hi, Sarah. How are you? How are you, Sarah?
I got a...
Hi. Nudes and, different sentences that he...
Sarah, I'm sorry about this.
Don't talk. Don't fucking talk.
Idiot.
Yes, Sarah, we're really sorry about this. I'm sending him your way today.
Fucking...
So don't worry. But yeah, he's coming. Don't worry, he's coming home.
Elisa. She's just like almost broke my nose. She's gonna get arrested.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Fuck you, cunt. Next time you fucking touch me, I'll fucking dick you. You understand? You understand, cunt? Hey, no, Sarah, hang up. These idiots, she posted your fucking number in her cancer Discord, and I would just be polite. Yeah, touch me and I fucking dick your dumbass bitch. I'll fucking dick you. Test me. Elisa.
Yes?
As a woman, the dumb cunt, Sarah, the dumb retard in the middle of a street session. Can you please delete my number from the chat? She's a fucking insane person. She's a fucking 50-year-old dumb cunt in the middle of a street dancing.
Yeah, Sarah, I heard you had a kid when you were 16. That's what he told me about you.
Yes,
and he said you're a dumb Mexican.
I said she's a dumb
Mexican. And he said you keep showing up And he says you won't stop texting him, but I saw the text. It's the same shit. Yeah. Yeah, what's up?
She's half your age. She's half your age. Delete the number, please.
Pull
over, dumb cunt. Pull over, dumb cunt.
Ow! No, please don't. All right, I'll stop. Okay, I'll stop.
Pull over.
Okay,
Pull over, dumb cunt.
No, I'm sorry.
No, call 911, Sarah. Call 911.
No, please, I'm
Call
sorry.
911.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm so sorry. Please let me go. Babe, please let me go. Ow. No, please, I'm so sorry. Please let me go.
Oh, you're sorry, right? Get the fuck
Okay,
out
I'm
of
getting
here.
out. I'm getting out. He's killing me. No! Okay, I'm getting out.
All right. Well, there we have it. That is episode 1 of people we share oxygen with. These people are out there. Do I need to explain what was going on there? Yeah, I probably do. Okay, so what we were looking at there is a man who happens to be the son of a billionaire, and his Instagram / OnlyFans girlfriend, we'll put it this way. So here's what this guy does, who is the son of a billionaire, and you could see, I mean, it's like, how did you see her? She's kind of hot. She's very hot, although crazy. Oh my God, did you see the rage in her? She was dangerous, far more dangerous than him, because when she popped him in the face like that and he didn't react, I mean, he finally did. He's dangerous. We saw what he did. But man, she was crazier. She's crazier and more dangerous. She will kill you in your sleep. That is what I got from her. She's very hot, but also will kill you in your sleep. So, weigh those two things accordingly. So he basically pays her. It's the story that I read that was associated with that. He has paid the woman that we see driving the car. He's paid that woman well over a couple of $1 million over the last couple of years on her OnlyFans and all this kind of stuff. And when you reach that level, you get to fly out and see them and all that kind of stuff. So those two are running around pretending like they're boyfriend and girlfriend, when really that girl is just an OnlyFans Instagram who's being, he's like her biggest donor. The girl that they're talking to is another Instagram / OnlyFans girl that he is also supporting. And the two girls are now getting into a fight. That's what's going on there. What do they call him? A pay pig? He's known in the Instagram or in the OnlyFans world as a rich guy who will give you as much money as you want, known as a pay pig. So that's what we're seeing there. As the two Instagram / this is how she was described, as an Instagram OnlyFans model. I guess they met on OnlyFans. Two Instagram OnlyFans models fighting over the billionaire's son, who is just, my God. Can we go back and see that woman again? Just a little bit. She is so violent, and there is so much rage in her. There is so much scary. Here, we'll show this one more time. I'm going to go back. Ay. Okay, here, we'll, there is an out-of-control spree killer rage to this woman.
Fucking insane person. She's a fucking 50.
Look at this whole time. She is performing for the camera because she is streaming this live to her fans. So she is performing and like, yeah, look at how much fun. And then going completely violent. This is a crazy person. This is the actions of a crazy person. Watch her. She is not in control.
No, Sarah, hang up. These idiots. She posted your fucking number in her cancer Discord, and I was just being polite. Yeah, touch me and I fucking deck your dumbass bitch. I'll fucking deck you. Test me.
Yes.
As a woman,
The
I have a
dumb cunt,
medically
Sarah, the
fragile
dumb
child. I
retard
have to
in the
have my
middle of a
phone
street
on.
session.
Can you please delete my number from the chat?
No,
Look at her preening for the camera.
she's a fucking insane person. She's a fucking
I would stop talking
50-year-old
about
dumb cunt in the middle of a
50.
street
Okay,
dancing.
Yeah, Sarah, I
like
heard you had a
sad-
kid when you were 16. That's what he told me about you.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. People we share oxygen with. Let's see. Let's see here. Adam says usually the pay pigs like the abuse. Yeah, that's another whole weird thing about it. He's playing for the dude. Believe me, there's a lot more videos of this couple being abusive. Yeah, there were also videos that were attached, but people we share oxygen with. There are these people that are out there. Do you know any of these people? Here's the thing, that girl's hot. Like if I met that girl and there wouldn't be because I'm like an old man. Although they said she was 50. Anyway, she was hot. Like I have dated crazy women like that. Do you remember? Ever tell you a story? I think I did. I think I told this story on the air. We went and saw 4-Day Weekend, which is an improv troupe here in Dallas. And I was dating at the time a woman who again was out of my league, but I had a radio show, so you could get away with that. She was really beautiful. And we were watching this improv troupe, and this guy, one of the bits that they did was Lord of the Dance. Michael Flatley, the Lord of the Dance thing. It was big back then. Well, their spin on it was the Lord and Savior of the dance. So it was Jesus, but he was just doing this river dance thing. And it was funny. It was silly. It was absurdist humor. And we're sitting at this table, and this like really hot girl. By the way, she looked like it's what reminded me of this story. This really like beautiful woman I'm there on a date. I've been with her a couple of times. Not there, but I've been on date. But it's just, it's not really click. I don't know. She's hot and all that, but I don't know. I look and I see out of the side of my eye, I see that she is not looking at the stage, but she has turned her chair completely along and she is performatively staring at the back wall. And I'm watching this, and then I'm looking over at her, and I'm watching this, and I'm looking at her. And then I lean into her and I go, what are you doing? Like, I thought she knew somebody. Like, I thought she knew somebody back there. And she was like, so I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, they're making fun of Jesus. I can't participate in this. I just have to check out for a few minutes. I'm like, what? What? So this is what you do? You perform this? You make a big show of turning your chair, and I'm going to stand and stare. That's when I knew she was crazy. That's when I knew that was not going to work. Crazy chicks, man. Crazy chicks. They tend to hide in really hot women. Maybe is that a thing? I'm telling you. Crazy hot women. There's a lot of them. And then I would say, I don't know that I would say that there are crazy hot dudes out there, but hot dude assholes, maybe not the same thing. Maybe that's why maybe that's why hot girls are crazy, because hot guys are assholes. I don't know. Maybe there might be a correlation there. I don't have time to do the requisite study and homework, but we'll see. All right, guys, we made it. We did just about a full extra half hour or so. Probably a little more than a half hour. Thank you for hanging out with me. This has been fun. We'll be back tomorrow at noon. Man, I want to do that. I want to do that World War III thing. I want to watch that thing with you guys. And not the whole thing, just watch the last 7 minutes of it. And then we'll have a discussion about it and how freaking unnerving it is. Like the minute that, maybe we'll do that. I gotta eat dinner. I got stuff to do. Well, it was supposed to rain, thunderstorms. We were supposed to have floods. It was supposed to be that for 48 hours straight. Rained pretty hard for about 10 minutes this afternoon, and now the sun's out. So there you have it. Once again, we started the show with me explaining to you. About how weathermen, they're con men. They're just stealing money. Told us it was going to rain nonstop for 2 days. That's not the case. Woo. Rob says, no offense, but why would a Jesus lover go after you for being on the radio? Oh, that's messed up. She shouldn't know better. Well, no, she was just being performative. She was like, part of her brand and her image when she's meeting somebody is, she wore the cross and all that. She had giant fake implants, low cut dresses and the cross, right? Please, come on. Don't try and figure it out, Rob. You drive yourself crazy trying to figure that out. All right, I'm out of stuff. I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. The high noon rant will continue tomorrow. You're the best. Bye.